Happiness. It's something we all want, but sometimes it feels like it's just out of reach. We often think happiness depends on things we can't control, other people, circumstances, or achievements. But the truth is, happiness starts with you. It's not something you need to search for outside yourself, and it's certainly not something that will be handed to you. It's something you can create within yourself. In this book, I'm going to walk you through exactly how you can do that. We'll dive into the simple, practical steps that will help you create lasting happiness from the inside out. Whether you're dealing with stress, self-doubt, or just feeling stuck, this book will guide you to a place where happiness is not only possible, but also sustainable. You don't have to wait for life to change for you to feel better. You can start right now by shifting your mindset, building better habits, and taking control of your inner world. What you're about to learn isn't some magic trick or a quick fix. It's about making small but powerful changes in how you approach life every single day. We'll talk about how to train your mind to focus on what's good, how to nurture the relationships that matter, how to find your purpose, and how to build resilience when life gets tough. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Every day, in every moment, you'll get closer to the kind of happiness that sticks. I know it can feel overwhelming, and you might be thinking, this sounds great, but how do I actually do it? That's exactly what I want to help you with. Each chapter is full of actionable advice, practical exercises, and real-life examples that you can start applying right away. By the time you finish this book, you'll have the tools you need to build a life that's not just about getting by, but about thriving and truly enjoying every step of the journey. So, if you're ready to take responsibility for your own happiness, to let go of old patterns, and to make changes that will make you feel more alive, this book is for you. Let's get started on this exciting path toward creating happiness within yourself. Chapter 1. Understanding happiness. Happiness. It's a word we all know, but it can mean different things to different people. For some, happiness is a fleeting moment of joy, like the rush you feel when you're surrounded by family, or the satisfaction of finishing a long, challenging project. For others, happiness is more like a deep, calm sense of fulfillment. It's not so much about the big highs, but about feeling content with life as it is, regardless of the circumstances. When we start thinking about happiness, it's easy to get caught up in the idea that it's something we have to search for or work really hard to find. Many people spend years thinking they'll only be happy when they get that promotion, find the perfect partner, or buy that house they've been dreaming about. But the truth is, happiness doesn't depend on these things as much as we think. The real key to happiness isn't outside of us. It's inside us. Happiness isn't a final destination. It's not some place we're supposed to arrive at, where everything is perfect and we can finally stop striving. It's something we create in our everyday lives, in our thoughts, and in the way we interact with the world around us. It's about learning how to embrace all of life, the good and the bad, and finding peace in the process. If we look at happiness from a scientific perspective, there's a lot more going on than we might realize. Psychologists have been studying happiness for decades, and they've discovered a lot about how our minds and bodies work together to create the feelings we associate with joy. It turns out that happiness is deeply connected to our brain chemistry, but it's also about our mindset, our habits, and how we relate to others. Let's start with some of the research behind happiness. You may have heard about certain chemicals in the brain that are responsible for how we feel: dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. These are often called the happiness chemicals because they play a big role in regulating our emotions. Dopamine is what gives us that rush of pleasure when we accomplish something or when we get a reward. Serotonin is linked to our overall sense of well-being, It's what makes us feel content and at ease. And oxytocin, often called the love hormone, helps us feel connected to others, especially when we experience positive social interactions. While these chemicals are important, they don't tell the whole story, because what science has also shown us is that happiness isn't just about how we feel in the moment. It's about how we interpret our experiences, how we think about our lives, and how we choose to respond to challenges. Think about it. If you're always waiting for something outside of you to make you happy, you're always going to feel like something's missing. But if you start shifting your focus inward, you realize that you have more control over your happiness than you thought. You don't have to wait for life to give you permission to be happy. You can start creating it right now, no matter what's going on around you. A lot of people believe that happiness is tied to certain achievements. We've all been taught that success equals happiness, right? We get the job, we make more money, we buy the car, we check off all the boxes, and then we'll be happy. But in reality, research shows that happiness doesn't work that way. Studies have found that once our basic needs are met, things like food, shelter, and safety, more money or more stuff doesn't really make us any happier in the long run. Sure, there's a short-term boost when we get something new or reach a big goal, but those feelings fade. That's the hedonic treadmill in action, the idea that no matter how much we get or achieve, our happiness levels tend to return to a baseline over time. So, what does this mean for us? It means that happiness can't be found outside of us. We have to look within. That doesn't mean we should stop striving for our goals or pursuing things that bring us joy. It just means that we shouldn't tie our sense of happiness to specific outcomes. Happiness doesn't come from getting everything we want. It comes from the way we show up in our own lives day after day. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that happiness is a constant state. We see other people smiling, enjoying their lives, and think, I want that. But the truth is, happiness is not something that you hold on to all the time. Emotions are fluid, they come and go. There will be moments when you feel on top of the world, and moments when you feel down or defeated. That's okay. Both joy and sadness are part of life. The key is learning how to move through both with grace, knowing that neither one is permanent. When we begin to truly understand what happiness is, we can start to look at it as something we can create for ourselves. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment or the right circumstances. It's about being present, finding joy in the small things, and cultivating a mindset that allows us to appreciate life no matter what. It's about showing up for yourself, day after day, and choosing to find the good, even when things aren't perfect. There's a lot of pressure in our society to constantly be happy, to always be on and feel positive all the time. But this isn't realistic, and it's not healthy either. What really matters is how we respond to life's challenges. Do we let setbacks keep us down, or do we rise above them? Do we let negative thoughts take over, or do we choose to focus on the good? Happiness comes not from avoiding struggles, but from learning how to navigate them with resilience and self-compassion. One of the most important things to remember is that happiness isn't a destination. It's a journey. It's not something you find once and for all. It's something you create every single day with your thoughts, your actions, and your choices. The more we understand this, the easier it becomes to start making happiness a part of our daily lives. So how do we begin this journey? It starts with making the decision to focus on what you can control, your mindset, your actions, and how you choose to respond to life. It starts with being intentional about what makes you happy, what fills you with joy, and what brings meaning to your life. And most importantly, it starts with being kind to yourself, allowing yourself to experience all the emotions that come with being human. And knowing that happiness doesn't mean you're always happy, It means you're learning how to live fully and authentically through it all. As we move forward in this book, we'll dive deeper into the practical steps you can take to create more happiness in your life. But for now, take a moment to reflect on your own definition of happiness. What does it look like for you? Is it something you can start to create right now, in the small moments of your life? Because the truth is, you already have everything you need to be happy. You just have to start looking inward and choosing it. Chapter 2. The importance of a positive mindset. When it comes to happiness, there's one thing that stands out more than anything else. Mindset. What you think and how you see the world shapes your experience of life. It's like the lens through which you view everything. If you wear a pair of glasses with a tint of optimism, you'll see a world full of opportunities and possibilities. But if you put on glasses tinted with negativity, you'll see obstacles and roadblocks, no matter where you look. The way you choose to think directly impacts how you feel, and in turn how happy you are. That's why mindset is so important. You see, happiness isn't just about what happens to us. It's also about how we respond to those things. Life will always throw curveballs. You'll face disappointments, challenges, and moments of doubt. But how you interpret these events makes all the difference. If you choose to view them as setbacks, they will feel like setbacks. But if you see them as opportunities to learn and grow, they become stepping stones toward a better version of yourself. The mindset you cultivate is what determines whether you rise or fall when life gets tough. Now, this might sound like some pie-in-the-sky theory, but the truth is, there's a lot of science behind it. Studies have shown that people with a positive mindset tend to be more successful, healthier, and happier. It's not just about thinking happy thoughts. It's about intentionally focusing on the positive and developing a mindset that supports your well-being, even in tough times. But let's get real for a second. Cultivating a positive mindset isn't something that just happens overnight. It's about rewiring your brain, shifting the way you think, and training yourself to see the world through a different lens. And the great news is, it's totally possible. With practice, anyone can learn to think more positively, and that shift in thinking can dramatically improve your happiness and your life. One of the first steps in developing a positive mindset is understanding that your thoughts are not necessarily facts. Just because you think something doesn't make it true. Too often, we get caught in negative thought patterns. We make assumptions about situations, people, and our own abilities, and we start believing those assumptions as if they're reality. If you tell yourself that you're not good enough, or that something will never work out, you start to believe it. But what if you challenged those thoughts? What if you asked yourself, is this thought actually true, or am I just assuming the worst? Take a moment to think about the last time you were upset or anxious about something. Maybe you worried about a meeting at work, or stressed over an event you had to attend. What was going on in your mind during that time? Chances are, your thoughts were focused on the worst-case scenario, on what could go wrong, instead of what could go right. And that's completely natural. Our brains are wired to focus on the negative, because from an evolutionary standpoint, it kept us safe. But in today's world, that instinct can work against us. When we constantly focus on what might go wrong, we miss out on seeing the possibilities that could go right. A positive mindset isn't about ignoring the negative. It's about recognizing that the negative doesn't have to define you. It's about choosing to focus on what you can control, what's going well, and what you've already overcome. And over time, this kind of thinking can become a habit. The more you practice it, the easier it becomes. One powerful tool for shifting your mindset is gratitude. When you focus on what you're grateful for, your brain starts to look for more things to be thankful for. It's like training your mind to see the good in your life, no matter how small it might seem. Every day, try to take a moment to write down 3 things you're grateful for. It could be something as simple as a warm cup of coffee in the morning, or a kind word from a friend. The more you focus on the positive aspects of your life, the more you begin to notice them. But here's the thing, gratitude isn't just about being thankful for the big things. It's about appreciating the everyday moments. Those little ordinary things that often go unnoticed are the building blocks of a happy life. A beautiful sunset, a phone call from a loved one, a quiet moment alone. When you start practicing gratitude for these small things, you begin to shift your entire perspective. You start to see the abundance around you instead of focusing on what's missing. Another powerful way to cultivate a positive mindset is by practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness is the art of being fully present in the moment without judgment. It's about paying attention to what's happening right now, rather than getting caught up in past regrets or future worries. When we're mindful, we stop obsessing over what went wrong or what might happen later. Instead, we focus on what's right in front of us, and we learn to appreciate the moment for what it is. This kind of presence can bring a deep sense of peace and contentment. You don't have to sit in silence for hours or meditate for years to practice mindfulness. You can start small. Take a few minutes each day to check in with yourself. How are you feeling? What's happening around you? What can you hear, see, or smell in the present moment? This simple act of mindfulness can help you ground yourself and refocus your mind on what really matters. And then there's the power of positive self-talk. We all have that inner voice, right? The one that tells us we're not good enough, or that we'll never succeed, or that we'll never be able to reach our goals. But here's the secret, that voice isn't always right. In fact, it's often wrong. Your inner critic can be your biggest obstacle when it comes to cultivating a positive mindset. But the good news is that you can challenge it. When you catch yourself thinking negative thoughts about yourself, pause and ask, is this really true? What's a more positive way to think about this? Imagine if, instead of telling yourself, I'm not good enough, you said, I'm doing the best I can and I'm improving every day. It's a subtle shift, but it can make a huge difference in how you feel about yourself and your abilities. Positive self-talk is like a muscle. It gets stronger the more you use it. So when that inner voice tries to bring you down, remind yourself of your strengths and your progress. Be your own cheerleader. But here's the kicker. Even with all these tools, it's important to remember that you won't be positive all the time, and that's okay. We're human. We all have days when we feel low, when things aren't going our way, and when we're just not in the mood to be upbeat. And that's perfectly normal. The goal isn't to be positive all the time, it's to be able to recognize when you're slipping into negative thinking and choose to shift it. It's about building the resilience to bounce back when things go wrong and to keep moving forward, even when it feels hard. The key takeaway here is that mindset isn't something you're born with, it's something you can create. You can choose to shift your thinking, to focus on the positive, and to train your brain to see the world in a way that supports your happiness. It takes practice, but with time, your mindset can become your greatest asset. So start small. Pay attention to your thoughts. Practice gratitude. Challenge your inner critic. Be mindful of the present moment. And remember, happiness doesn't just happen. It's something you create with every thought, every choice, and every action. Chapter 3. Daily Habits for Lasting Joy. If you want to create happiness in your life, it's not about waiting for big moments of excitement to come your way. Sure, It's easy to think that joy comes in bursts, those celebrations, the vacations, the milestones we achieve. But real lasting happiness doesn't come from a single event or achievement. It comes from the small, everyday things you do. It comes from the habits you build and the routines you make part of your life. These little habits might seem insignificant at first, but over time they add up, creating a foundation of joy that lasts. Let's be honest. Life is full of ups and downs. You'll have days when everything feels perfect, and you'll have days when things feel off. That's just part of being human. But there's one thing that can keep you grounded and bring a steady sense of happiness no matter what's happening around you. The daily habits you choose to focus on. Your habits are the things you do over and over again, and they're the building blocks of the life you're creating. So if you want to cultivate happiness, it's time to start paying attention to the habits that truly matter. One of the most powerful habits you can create is the practice of gratitude. Gratitude is like a muscle. You get stronger the more you use it. Every time you pause to acknowledge something you're grateful for, you shift your focus away from what's wrong and bring your attention to what's right. It might sound simple, but it's incredibly effective. Try this every morning. Take a moment before you get out of bed and think about 3 things you're thankful for. It doesn't have to be anything big. Maybe it's the warmth of your blankets, a good cup of coffee, or a friend who always makes you laugh. The point is, you're starting your day with a mindset of appreciation, and that simple act can completely change how you experience the rest of your day. I know, it can be easy to get stuck in the habit of focusing on what's missing in your life. We're often told that we need more success, more money, more recognition to be happy. But the truth is, happiness comes from appreciating what you already have. You don't need to wait for something big to happen. You can find joy in the small moments, the things you might normally take for granted. And the more you practice gratitude, the more you'll begin to see just how much you already have in your life. Another simple but powerful habit is mindfulness. Now, mindfulness might sound like one of those buzzwords we hear all the time, but it's actually a game changer when it comes to creating happiness. Mindfulness is all about being present in the moment. It's about paying attention to what's happening around you right now, without judgment or distraction. We often get caught up in the past or the future, but the only moment that really matters is the one we're in. When you practice mindfulness, you're learning to let go of the stress and worry that comes with overthinking. You're learning to focus on the present, and in doing so you create space for happiness to flow in. You don't need to meditate for hours to practice mindfulness. In fact, you can start with something as simple as taking a few deep breaths and focusing on the sensations in your body. Notice how your feet feel on the ground, or how your breath moves in and out. Pay attention to the sounds around you. This simple act of being fully present can bring a sense of peace and calm that helps you feel more grounded in the chaos of everyday life. Along with gratitude and mindfulness, another habit that can bring lasting joy is taking care of your body. I know we often talk about the mind and emotions when it comes to happiness, but your physical well-being plays a huge role in how you feel mentally and emotionally. If you're not taking care of yourself physically, it's hard to feel your best. Regular exercise, eating nutritious foods, and getting enough sleep are all essential for maintaining a positive mindset. Exercise in particular has a huge impact on your mood. When you move your body, your brain releases endorphins, those feel-good chemicals that help reduce stress and boost happiness. You don't have to spend hours at the gym to feel the benefits. Even just going for a walk, dancing to your favorite song, or doing some light stretching can make a difference. The key is to find something you enjoy and make it a part of your routine. When you take care of your body, you'll find that it's easier to stay positive, energized and focused on what truly matters. Sleep, too, is incredibly important when it comes to happiness. We often underestimate how much rest affects our mood and mental clarity, but it's one of the most vital components of overall well-being. When you're well rested, you have more energy, you can think more clearly, and you're better able to handle whatever life throws at you. If you're not getting enough sleep, it's time to prioritize rest. Create a bedtime routine that helps you unwind and relax before sleep, and aim for 7 hours of rest each night. It's not just about quantity, it's about quality. The better you sleep, the better you'll feel when you wake up. Another habit that can dramatically improve your happiness is spending time with the people you care about. Human beings are social creatures. We thrive on connection. When you spend time with people who make you feel good, who lift you up, and who support you, it's like you're refueling your emotional tank. But the key here is quality over quantity. It's not about having tons of friends or being constantly surrounded by people. It's about the depth of the connections you have. The people who truly matter in your life are the ones who bring out the best in you, who listen to you without judgment, and who make you feel loved and valued. If you haven't already, make it a habit to spend time with those people regularly. Whether it's having a deep conversation over coffee, sharing a meal together, or just enjoying each other's company, those moments of connection are priceless. And when life gets tough, it's these relationships that will help you get through. On top of all that, one of the simplest ways to create lasting happiness is by doing something kind for someone else. When you give to others, whether it's your time, your attention, or a small act of kindness, it can bring a sense of joy and fulfillment that's hard to find anywhere else. Helping others not only makes them feel good, but it also boosts your own sense of well-being. It reminds you that you're capable of making a positive impact, no matter how small it may seem. It doesn't have to be something grand. It can be as simple as holding the door open for someone, sending a thoughtful message, or volunteering your time. The beauty of kindness is that it doesn't just benefit the person you're helping, it benefits you too. When you make it a habit to give, you create a positive ripple effect that spreads throughout your own life and the lives of those around you. So let's wrap this up. The happiness you're seeking isn't something you'll find in a big moment or event. It's something you create in the small, everyday choices you make. It's about the habits you cultivate, the way you take care of your body, the relationships you nurture, and the gratitude you express. Each of these habits may seem small on its own, but over time, they add up to something bigger. They create a life that's rich with joy, meaning, and fulfillment. If you want to feel happier, it's time to get intentional about your daily habits. Start small and build from there. Every little step you take toward creating a routine that supports your well-being will bring you closer to the happiness you deserve. The power is in your hands. It's not about waiting for happiness to find you. It's about creating it in your everyday life, one habit at a time. Chapter 4: The Impact of Relationships on Happiness. Let's talk about something that's fundamental to happiness: relationships. No matter who you are, where you're from, or what you do, one thing is certain: relationships play a huge role in how happy you feel. We are social beings, and from the moment we're born, we're wired for connection. But here's the thing, it's not just any connection that brings happiness. It's the quality of the relationships that matter most. The people you surround yourself with, whether they're family, friends, or partners, have the power to lift you up or bring you down. So if you want to create a life of lasting happiness, you need to pay attention to the relationships that truly matter. Think about the people in your life for a moment. Who are the ones who make you feel loved, supported, and understood? These are the people who have a positive impact on your happiness. You know, those friends who always know how to make you laugh, or the family members who've been with you through thick and thin. These relationships nourish you. They provide you with a sense of belonging and validation, two things that are critical to our emotional well-being. When you're surrounded by people who genuinely care for you, life feels more meaningful. You feel more confident, more secure, and more capable of facing whatever comes your way. But then there are the relationships that can have the opposite effect. Maybe there's that friend or acquaintance who constantly drains your energy, or that toxic family member who always has something negative to say. These kinds of relationships can slowly chip away at your happiness. They create stress, self-doubt, and frustration. And over time, if you don't address them, they can start to take a serious toll on your emotional and mental health. So let's get real. Relationships are a double-edged sword. They can either be a source of joy or a source of pain. And while you can't always control how others behave, you can control how you choose to interact with them and what kind of relationships you nurture. You have the power to create the kind of circle that supports your growth and your happiness. One of the first things to consider when it comes to relationships is the importance of surrounding yourself with positive, supportive people. These are the ones who encourage you to be your best self, who celebrate your successes, and who offer a listening ear when you need it most. These are the relationships that help you feel good about yourself and about life. But how do you know who those people are? Well, it's pretty simple. They're the ones who make you feel better, not worse. They respect your boundaries, they genuinely care about your well-being, and they make an effort to stay connected. If you've got people like that in your life, hold on to them. These are the relationships worth investing in. Spend time with these people, deepen your connection, and make sure they know how much they mean to you. It's not always about quantity, but quality. You don't need a huge social circle to be happy. What matters is the depth of the relationships you cultivate. Having just a few people who truly get you can bring a sense of fulfillment and joy that no number of acquaintances can ever match. But let's face it, not all relationships are easy. Sometimes, people we care about can unintentionally bring us down, or they can be caught up in their own struggles and unable to provide the support we need. This can be especially challenging in family dynamics or long-term friendships. So what do you do when you're in a relationship that's no longer serving you in a healthy way? This is where setting boundaries comes into play. Boundaries are essential for protecting your emotional well-being. They're the lines you draw in your relationships to ensure that you're treated with respect and that your needs are being met. Setting boundaries isn't about being selfish or cutting people off. It's about taking care of yourself and making sure that the people in your life are treating you in a way that aligns with your values and your mental health. For example, if you have a friend who always complains about everything and drains your energy, it might be time to have a conversation. You can express that while you care about them. You need to prioritize your own emotional well-being, and that constant negativity is hard to handle. Or if a family member is overstepping their boundaries by being too critical, it's okay to say, "I love you, but I need you to be more supportive if we're going to have a healthy relationship." Setting these boundaries may feel uncomfortable at first, but in the long run, it's the best thing you can do for yourself and for the relationship. Healthy boundaries ensure that relationships are mutually beneficial, with both parties feeling valued, respected, and supported. Now, boundaries are important, but so is being able to nurture and deepen the relationships that bring you joy. And here's the thing, relationships take work. They require time, effort, and communication. You can't just expect things to stay strong if you're not putting in the energy to keep them alive. But that doesn't mean it has to be hard work. In fact, the best relationships feel effortless when they're nurtured properly. A big part of nurturing relationships is spending quality time together. It's so easy to get caught up in the busyness of life, but it's essential to carve out time for the people who matter most. Whether it's having a weekly dinner with a close friend, planning a weekend getaway with your partner, or simply picking up the phone to check in on a family member, these small gestures of connection go a long way in strengthening your bonds. And let's not forget about the power of communication. Good relationships are built on trust, understanding, and open dialogue. If something's bothering you, or if you're feeling disconnected from someone, it's important to address it. Keeping your feelings bottled up, or assuming the other person knows how you feel, will only lead to resentment. But when you communicate openly, it creates a space for both of you to understand each other better, resolve conflicts, and deepen your connection. Sometimes, though, relationships require a bit of tough love. There may be times when you need to have difficult conversations, whether it's confronting a friend about their behavior or addressing a situation that's been bothering you for a while. It's never easy, but it's necessary if you want the relationship to be healthy and long-lasting. The key here is to approach these conversations with empathy and respect. Listen to the other person's perspective, but don't be afraid to stand your ground when it comes to your own needs. And here's an important point. While nurturing relationships is crucial, it's just as important to know when to let go. Some people come into our lives for a season, and not all relationships are meant to last forever. If a relationship is toxic or consistently draining you, it's okay to step away. You don't need to keep people in your life who bring you more harm than good. Letting go of toxic relationships is an act of self-love. It frees up space for healthier, more supportive connections to grow. The relationships we invest in have the power to either lift us up or bring us down. And if you want to cultivate lasting happiness, you have to be intentional about who you surround yourself with. Focus on building strong, positive, and supportive connections. Set boundaries when necessary, and be willing to do the work to keep your relationships healthy. It's not always easy, but it's worth it, because at the end of the day, the relationships you have are some of the most powerful factors in your overall happiness. When you invest in them, you're investing in your own well-being, and that's something that pays off in ways you can't even imagine. Chapter 5. Cultivating Self-Compassion. We've all been there. You mess up or you don't meet the expectations you've set for yourself, and suddenly you're your own worst critic. It's like that inner voice starts to scream at you, pointing out every mistake, every flaw, every little thing you wish you could do better. You beat yourself up, replaying the situation over and over in your head, wondering why you can't just get it right. It's exhausting, right? And it's all too familiar for most of us. But here's the thing, that inner voice doesn't have to be your reality. You don't have to live with constant self-criticism. You can choose something different. You can choose self-compassion. Self-compassion is the practice of treating yourself with the same kindness, care, and understanding that you would offer to a friend. It's about recognizing that you're human, that you're going to make mistakes, and that you don't need to be perfect to be worthy of love, respect, and care. It's about not beating yourself up for every misstep, but instead being gentle with yourself when things don't go as planned. And trust me, this is a game changer. When you start practicing self-compassion, everything shifts. You start to feel more at peace with yourself, more accepting of your imperfections, and ultimately more content in your own skin. Now I get it. For some people, this idea of self-compassion can be a tough pill to swallow. We've been taught to push through pain, to always strive for more, to never show weakness. But that mindset doesn't get us very far. In fact, it often leads to burnout, frustration, and an inability to appreciate where we are in the moment. We're constantly chasing something, but we're never really taking the time to be okay with what we have right now, with who we are right now. Self-compassion is about learning to be kind to yourself, especially when you fall short of your own expectations. We live in a world that thrives on perfectionism, but nobody's perfect. Not me, not you, not anyone. And that's okay. It's the imperfections that make us real, that make us relatable. Embracing yourself can create a sense of peace that's hard to find anywhere else. One of the first steps in cultivating self-compassion is recognizing that everyone makes mistakes. It's part of being human. I know when you're in the middle of something difficult, it can feel like you're the only one struggling. It can feel like everyone else has it all together, while you're the one who's failing. But here's the truth. Nobody has it all figured out. We all have our own struggles, our own setbacks, and our own moments of doubt. And that's okay. It's normal. It doesn't make you any less worthy or any less valuable. It just makes you human. So when you mess up or when things don't go according to plan, instead of tearing yourself down, try this: offer yourself the same grace that you'd offer to a friend in the same situation. Imagine your best friend coming to you with the same struggles, the same mistakes you've made. What would you say to them? You'd probably tell them that it's okay, that they're doing their best, that one mistake doesn't define them. So why not say the same thing to yourself? You deserve that same kindness, that same understanding. But here's where it gets tricky. Sometimes we're so used to criticizing ourselves that it feels unnatural to be kind to ourselves. You might think, I can't just let myself off the hook. I need to hold myself accountable. And while accountability is important, it doesn't have to come from a place of harsh self-judgment. You can still hold yourself accountable without being mean to yourself. In fact, being kind to yourself makes it easier to take responsibility for your actions because you're not coming from a place of shame or guilt. You're coming from a place of understanding and growth. A big part of self-compassion is also letting go of perfectionism. Perfectionism is often rooted in fear. The fear that if we're not perfect, we won't be loved or accepted. But that's simply not true. The truth is, people love us for who we are, not for how perfect we are. And the same goes for ourselves. When we demand perfection from ourselves, we set ourselves up for constant disappointment. There's always something else we could be doing, something more we could be achieving. But that kind of mindset is exhausting. It keeps us stuck in a cycle of striving for an ideal that doesn't exist. And here's the thing, perfection doesn't lead to happiness. It just leads to frustration. When you let go of the need to be perfect, you free yourself to be human. You free yourself to make mistakes, to learn, to grow, and to enjoy the journey rather than constantly focusing on what's wrong. You give yourself permission to take a step back, to breathe, and to acknowledge that you're doing your best. And that's enough. It's more than enough. Another key aspect of self-compassion is being able to acknowledge your feelings without judgment. It's so easy to push our feelings down or try to avoid them, especially when they're uncomfortable or difficult. But the more we suppress our emotions, the more they build up, leading to stress, anxiety, and even physical discomfort. Self-compassion means allowing yourself to feel what you're feeling, whether it's sadness, frustration, anger, or fear, without telling yourself that those feelings are wrong or bad. You're allowed to feel what you feel. Your emotions are valid, and the sooner you accept them, the sooner you can move through them. This doesn't mean that you should dwell in negative emotions or let them control your actions. It simply means that you don't have to fight against them. You don't have to ignore them or pretend they don't exist. When you allow yourself to feel your emotions fully and without judgment, you create space for healing and growth. You can process what's going on inside of you and then move forward with a clearer, more peaceful mind. Self-compassion also involves taking care of yourself, both physically and mentally. It's about recognizing that your well-being matters, that you deserve to be treated with respect, and that you should take the time to care for yourself. This could mean getting enough sleep, eating nourishing foods, exercising, or simply taking time to relax and recharge. It's easy to fall into the trap of putting everyone else's needs before your own, but the truth is, you can't pour from an empty cup. You need to fill your own cup first in order to be there for others in a meaningful way. And let's not forget about self-acceptance. Self-compassion requires that you accept yourself as you are, flaws and all. This doesn't mean you stop striving to be better. It simply means you acknowledge that you are worthy of love and respect exactly as you are right now. When you accept yourself, you stop chasing an ideal version of yourself and start living in the present moment, appreciating the person you are today. Self-acceptance is liberating. It's the foundation for true happiness because it allows you to feel good about yourself, regardless of your mistakes, imperfections or shortcomings. I know that self-compassion isn't always easy. It takes practice and it takes time. But it's worth it. When you learn to treat yourself with kindness, when you let go of self-judgment and perfectionism, when you accept yourself as you are, you begin to unlock a new sense of peace, joy, and fulfillment. You become your own biggest supporter, and that makes all the difference. You deserve love, understanding, and compassion, not just from others, but from yourself. And the more you practice that self-compassion, the more you'll experience the kind of happiness that comes from within. It's a happiness that's steady, unwavering, and deeply rooted in your own self-worth. And that's the kind of happiness that lasts a lifetime. Chapter 6. Finding your purpose. There's a question that we all inevitably ask ourselves at some point in our lives. What's the point of it all? It's a question that can keep you up at night, wondering if you're doing the right things, if you're on the right path. You start to look around at everyone else, and it feels like they have it all figured out while you're still fumbling, trying to make sense of it all. You might wonder if there's a deeper meaning to the daily grind, or if you're just going through the motions without any true direction. This feeling of uncertainty, of not knowing your purpose, can be incredibly overwhelming. But here's the thing. The search for purpose is not just a one-time thing. It's an ongoing journey, and it's okay if you don't have all the answers right now. What matters is that you're asking the question, that you're seeking meaning and fulfillment in your life. That's the first step toward finding your purpose. Purpose isn't something that's handed to you on a silver platter. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing, and it doesn't always come to you in a flash of inspiration. Finding your purpose is more of a process. It's about connecting the dots between your passions, your values, and the impact you want to make in the world. It's about understanding what drives you, what lights you up, and what gives you a sense of meaning and fulfillment. And the good news is, you can find your purpose at any point in your life. You don't need to have everything figured out by a certain age, and you don't need to compare your journey to anyone else's. Your purpose is uniquely yours, and it will unfold in its own time. But how do you even begin to find your purpose? Well, it starts with self-awareness. You need to take a deep, honest look at yourself and ask, what do I care about? What excites me? What brings me joy? It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of everyday life, but if you want to discover your true purpose, you need to make space for self-reflection. Set aside some time, whether it's through journaling, meditation, or simply sitting with your thoughts, and really tune in to what's going on inside of you. Pay attention to what you're passionate about, what makes you feel alive. Maybe it's helping others, maybe it's creating something, or maybe it's simply being present and enjoying the moment. Whatever it is, that's a clue to your purpose. Another important aspect of finding your purpose is looking at your values. What do you stand for? What principles guide your decisions and actions? Your values are like your internal compass. They help you navigate the world and make choices that align with who you truly are. When you live in alignment with your values, you start to feel a sense of purpose because you're not just going through the motions. You're living with intention. Your values give you direction, and they can help you make decisions that support your bigger vision for your life. Sometimes it can be hard to identify your values, especially if you've been living on autopilot for a while. But again, this is where self-reflection comes in. Take a step back and think about the moments in your life when you felt proud of yourself, when you felt truly fulfilled. What was happening in those moments? What were you doing? Who were you with? Often these moments can offer clues about the values that are most important to you. Maybe you felt proud because you stood up for something you believe in, or maybe you felt fulfilled because you were able to help someone in need. Whatever it is, these experiences can guide you in discovering the values that resonate with your purpose. Now, I want to talk about the fear that often holds us back from truly pursuing our purpose. It's that voice inside your head that tells you that you're not good enough, that you're not capable, that you'll never find what you're looking for. It's the fear of failure, the fear of the unknown, the fear of making the wrong choice. And let me tell you, fear is a normal part of the process. It's completely natural to feel uncertain, especially when you're stepping into new territory. But here's the key: don't let fear control your decisions. Don't let it keep you from taking action. The truth is, you're never going to have all the answers, and you're never going to be 100% sure of your path. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't move forward. In fact, sometimes the only way to find your purpose is by experimenting, by trying new things, by stepping outside of your comfort zone. You might not have the whole picture right now, but by taking small intentional steps, you'll begin to uncover what truly matters to you. And remember, your purpose isn't something that's fixed or rigid. It's not a destination that you reach and then stop. Your purpose can evolve over time, and that's perfectly okay. Life is constantly changing, and as you grow, your purpose might shift or expand. What brings you joy and fulfillment at one point in your life might not be the same thing that fulfills you later on. And that's the beauty of it. You're allowed to change, to grow, and to redefine your purpose as you evolve. What's important is that you stay connected to the deeper meaning behind what you're doing. Your purpose is about aligning with what feels right for you, not what you think you should be doing, or what others expect from you. As you move forward on your journey to finding your purpose, it's helpful to remember that it's not about achieving perfection or getting it all right. It's about making choices that feel authentic to who you are. It's about pursuing what excites you, what challenges you, and what makes you feel like you're contributing to something greater than yourself. Your purpose doesn't have to be grand or world-changing. It can be something small, something that brings you joy every single day. The important thing is that it's meaningful to you. The process of finding your purpose is a journey, not a destination. It's about discovery, growth, and alignment. It's about finding the things that light you up and pursuing them with passion and dedication. And sometimes it's about letting go of the things that no longer serve you or that don't align with your values. It's about giving yourself permission to explore, to try new things, and to trust that the answers will come when you need them. You don't have to have everything figured out today, but as long as you keep asking the question, keep seeking meaning, and keep living with intention, you're already on the right path. Trust that your purpose is unfolding exactly as it should, and trust that the journey is just as important as the destination. Chapter 7. The Art of Letting Go. Letting go is one of those things that sounds easy in theory, but can be incredibly challenging in practice. We all carry things with us: baggage, emotions, attachments, memories, and over time they can weigh us down. We cling to old hurts, old patterns, and old ways of thinking because they're familiar. They're comfortable in their own way, even if they aren't serving us. Letting go requires us to step into the unknown, to release control, and to trust that we can live without the things we've held on to for so long. And that's not always easy, but it's necessary if we want to move forward, if we want to experience true growth and freedom. The first step in letting go is recognizing that holding on to certain things is no longer helping us. Think about the things that are currently taking up space in your mind and your heart. Are they serving you? Are they adding value to your life? Or are they keeping you stuck? Holding on to past mistakes, past pain, past relationships, these things can hold us hostage in a way. We get so wrapped up in the stories we tell ourselves about what happened that we forget to focus on what's happening now. We forget that we have the power to move on, to release the hold that the past has on us, and to start fresh. But first we have to realize that it's time to let go. It might seem like a daunting task, and it's okay to feel that way. Letting go doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen without effort. It's a process, and sometimes it's a painful one. We might have to confront emotions we've been avoiding, or face the reality that we can't change the past. But as hard as it is, we also have to acknowledge that holding on to things that hurt us is only keeping us in the past. It's preventing us from fully experiencing the present and from opening ourselves up to the possibilities that lie ahead. One of the most difficult things to let go of is resentment. It's easy to hold on to anger and bitterness, especially when we've been wronged by someone. We feel justified in our hurt, and we think that holding on to that resentment will somehow protect us or punish the person who hurt us. But the reality is that holding on to resentment does nothing but poison our own hearts. It keeps us chained to the past, and it keeps us stuck in a cycle of negativity. When we hold on to grudges, we're giving the other person power over our emotions. We're letting them control our peace, and we're preventing ourselves from healing. Letting go of resentment doesn't mean that we condone what was done to us, or that we're saying it's okay. It's not about excusing the behavior of others. It's about freeing ourselves from the emotional burden of carrying that pain. It's about saying, I deserve to be free from this, and choosing to move forward with a lighter heart. Forgiveness is the key to letting go of resentment, and forgiveness is not for the other person, it's for you. It's about setting yourself free from the grip of anger and allowing yourself to heal. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean you won't feel the pain anymore, but it does mean that you're no longer going to let that pain control you. Sometimes, letting go isn't about other people, it's about letting go of expectations. We all have expectations about how things should go, how we should be treated, or what our lives should look like. We place these expectations on ourselves and on others, and when they're not met, we're disappointed. We feel let down. But the truth is, expectations can be a double-edged sword. On the one hand, they can give us something to strive for, something to aim toward. But on the other hand, they can set us up for frustration and resentment when things don't go the way we think they should. The key to letting go of expectations is recognizing that life doesn't always go according to plan. People don't always act the way we want them to, and things don't always turn out the way we envisioned them. But that doesn't mean that life isn't beautiful or meaningful. It just means that we have to let go of the idea that we can control everything. When we release our expectations, we open ourselves up to the reality of the present moment. We allow ourselves to experience life as it is, without judgment or disappointment. And then there's the idea of letting go of perfectionism. So many of us get caught up in the idea that everything has to be perfect, that we have to be perfect, that we have to get everything right. It's a heavy burden to carry, and it's impossible to sustain. Perfectionism keeps us stuck in a constant state of striving, always chasing an ideal that doesn't even exist. And when we inevitably fall short of our own impossible standards, we beat ourselves up, feeling like we're not good enough. But the truth is, perfectionism only holds us back from living fully. It keeps us from taking risks, from stepping out of our comfort zones, from showing up authentically. Letting go of perfectionism means accepting that imperfection is part of being human. It means giving yourself permission to be messy, to make mistakes, to learn as you go. When you let go of the need to be perfect, you free yourself to embrace who you really are. You stop hiding behind the facade of perfection and start showing up as your true, authentic self. And that's where real growth happens, when we stop trying to be perfect and start embracing the beauty of our imperfections. One of the most powerful things you can do when learning to let go is to practice surrender. Surrendering doesn't mean giving up. It means accepting that some things are beyond our control. It means recognizing that there are things we can't change, and that's okay. Sometimes we get so focused on trying to control every aspect of our lives that we forget to simply trust the process. We forget that life has a way of unfolding exactly as it's meant to, even when it doesn't look the way we expect it to. Surrender is about letting go of the need to control the outcome and trusting that whatever happens will happen for a reason. It's about letting go of the need to have everything figured out and trusting that things will fall into place when the time is right. Letting go can also mean releasing the fear that holds us back. Fear is often at the root of our attachments. We're afraid of losing something, of missing out, or of making the wrong choice. But fear only keeps us stuck in a cycle of indecision and avoidance. When we let go of fear, we open ourselves up to new possibilities. We allow ourselves to take risks, to explore, and to embrace the unknown. Fear will always be a part of our lives, but it doesn't have to dictate our actions. When we choose to let go of fear, we choose to live boldly, to step into the unknown with courage, and to trust that we have everything we need to handle whatever comes our way. Letting go is a powerful act of liberation. It's about freeing ourselves from the things that no longer serve us, whether they're negative emotions, unhealthy relationships, unrealistic expectations, or limiting beliefs. It's about choosing to live in the present moment, unburdened by the past and unafraid of the future. When we let go, we make space for new possibilities. We make room for growth, for healing, for love, and for joy. Letting go isn't easy, but it's necessary if we want to live fully. It's a practice, a journey, and a process, but one that's worth every step. Chapter 8. The Power of Forgiveness. Forgiveness isn't easy. In fact, it's one of the most difficult things we'll ever have to do in our lives. When someone hurts us, whether it's through their words, their actions, or their betrayal, it can feel impossible to forgive them. We might feel like they don't deserve it, that they haven't earned it, or that forgiving them means we're letting them off the hook. The pain, the anger, and the hurt can be so overwhelming that it feels like we'll never be able to move past it. But here's the thing, forgiveness isn't about the other person, it's about you. It's about freeing yourself from the grip of resentment and pain. It's about releasing the hold that that person and that situation has on your heart. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful acts of self-love you can offer yourself. When we choose to forgive, we're choosing to let go of the weight that we've been carrying. We're choosing to stop letting the past dictate our present. Because here's the truth, as long as we're holding on to anger and hurt, we're giving that person or that situation power over our emotions. We're letting them control our happiness, our peace, and our joy. Forgiveness isn't about excusing what happened or saying that it's okay. It's not about forgetting the pain or pretending that it didn't matter. It's about recognizing that holding on to that hurt is only harming you. When we forgive, we take back that power. We choose to heal. We choose to move forward. One of the biggest misconceptions about forgiveness is that it's something that happens instantly. People often think that once they forgive, everything will magically feel better, like a weight has been lifted, And that's simply not true. Forgiveness is a process, and it takes time. It's not something that you can force or rush. It's something that you have to work through at your own pace. And it's okay if it doesn't happen overnight. The key is to be patient with yourself and to give yourself permission to feel what you're feeling. You don't have to forgive someone just because it's the right thing to do. You forgive when you're ready. It's a choice you make for yourself, not for anyone else. It's also important to understand that forgiving someone doesn't mean that you have to allow them back into your life. Forgiveness doesn't mean that you have to trust them again, or that you have to maintain a relationship with them if it's toxic or harmful. Forgiveness is about letting go of the anger and the resentment you're carrying. It's about accepting what happened, learning from it, and choosing to move on with your life. You can forgive someone and still choose to set boundaries to protect your peace. Forgiveness is for you, not for them. It's about releasing yourself from the chains of bitterness and allowing yourself to heal. Forgiving others can be difficult, but one of the hardest forms of forgiveness is forgiving yourself. We can be our own harshest critics. We hold ourselves to impossible standards, and when we mess up, we beat ourselves up for it. We tell ourselves that we should have known better, that we should have made different choices, that we should have done things differently. And when we carry that guilt and self-blame, it eats away at us. It makes it hard to move forward and to truly live in peace. But the truth is, we're all human. We all make mistakes. We all fall short at times. And forgiving ourselves is just as important as forgiving others. If you're holding on to guilt or shame, it's time to let go of that too. It's time to recognize that you did the best you could with what you knew at the time. You can't change the past, but you can choose to forgive yourself, to learn from your mistakes, and to grow from them. Forgiveness also doesn't mean that you're condoning the behavior of others. You can forgive someone without saying that what they did was acceptable. It's important to understand that forgiveness is not about letting people walk all over you or about tolerating toxic behavior. Forgiveness is about choosing to release the emotional hold that the other person's actions have on you. It's about saying, "I'm not going to let your actions define my peace." It's about taking back control of your own emotions and your own life. You don't have to agree with what they did, but you do have to free yourself from the anger and bitterness that you're holding on to. Forgiveness can also have a profound impact on your health. Studies have shown that holding on to anger, resentment, and grudges can lead to increased stress, anxiety, and even physical health problems. When we forgive, we release that emotional burden, and it's like a weight is lifted off of our shoulders. Forgiveness can help to lower blood pressure, reduce stress, and improve overall well-being. It's a gift that we give ourselves, one that can lead to more peace, more joy, and better health. Now, I know that sometimes the people we need to forgive are ourselves, and that can be a tough pill to swallow. We might have made mistakes, hurt others, or failed to live up to our own expectations. We might have caused damage to relationships or missed opportunities. But we also have to understand that forgiveness is a part of the healing process. We can't change the past, but we can choose to forgive ourselves and move forward. We can choose to stop beating ourselves up for things that are already done and dusted. We can choose to learn, to grow, and to be kinder to ourselves. Forgiveness is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. It takes a lot of courage to forgive. It takes strength to let go of the things that are holding you back. It takes resilience to face the pain, to acknowledge it, and to release it. And while the act of forgiveness may be difficult, the rewards are immeasurable. When you forgive, you give yourself the freedom to heal. You open the door to peace, to inner calm, and to the ability to move forward with your life. You stop being controlled by the actions of others and take back control of your own life. Forgiveness also allows us to release the past and make room for the future. Holding on to past hurts and grudges keeps us stuck in the past. It keeps us looking backward, focused on what's been done to us. But when we forgive, we free ourselves to look forward, to focus on what we can control in the present moment. Forgiveness doesn't change what happened, but it changes how we choose to move forward. It allows us to take the lessons we've learned and use them to build a better future. And one of the most beautiful things about forgiveness is that it doesn't just impact us, it impacts everyone around us. When we forgive, we create space for love, understanding, and connection. We become more compassionate and empathetic, not just toward others, but toward ourselves as well. Forgiveness allows us to build healthier relationships, to create a sense of peace and harmony in our lives, and to invite more positivity into our world. It's a ripple effect that can transform not just our own lives, but the lives of those around us. So whether you're struggling to forgive someone who has wronged you, or whether you're working to forgive yourself for past mistakes, know that forgiveness is a powerful tool. It's a tool that can set you free. It's a tool that can heal your heart, your mind, and your spirit. Forgiveness isn't about condoning the behavior of others. It's about setting yourself free from the grip of pain and anger. It's about choosing to heal, to grow, and to move forward with peace in your heart. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself, one that will bring you more joy, more peace, and more love than you could ever imagine. Chapter 9. Setting meaningful goals. Goals. We all set them, right? Whether they're small ones, like getting to the gym a few times this week, or big ones like changing careers, or buying a house. Goals give us direction. They help us feel like we're moving forward in life, that we're progressing towards something meaningful. But if we're being honest with ourselves, not all goals are created equal. Some goals are nothing more than things we should do, not things we actually care about. And when the going gets tough, those goals often fall by the wayside. So how do we set goals that really matter to us? Goals that fuel our drive and keep us going, even when life gets challenging. First things first, let's talk about what meaningful goals actually are. These aren't just the goals that look good on paper, or the ones you think you should be striving for. Meaningful goals are the ones that align with your values, the ones that light you up inside. These are the goals that make you feel excited, passionate, and connected to something bigger than just yourself. They're the things that, when you look back on them, you'll feel proud of, no matter how long it takes to achieve them. To set meaningful goals, we have to first get clear on what really matters to us. What do you want your life to look like? What kind of person do you want to become? What are the things you care most about? For some people, this might mean focusing on family, while for others, it might mean building a successful business or making a difference in the world. There's no right or wrong answer here. Your goals are as unique as you are. But it's important to recognize that your goals should be based on your own values and desires, not someone else's expectations. When we set goals that reflect who we truly are, we're more likely to stay motivated and committed to them, even when obstacles arise. Once we've identified what matters most to us, the next step is to make our goals specific. Vague goals like, I want to be healthier, or I want to be successful, are nice, but they don't give us a clear path forward. To make real progress, we need to define exactly what success looks like. What does healthier mean to you? Is it exercising 3 times a week? Eating more vegetables? Getting enough sleep? What does success look like? Is it hitting a certain income level? Starting a new project? Reaching a milestone in your career? The more specific we can be, the easier it is to break down the steps we need to take to achieve them. And here's where we really get to the heart of goal setting, creating goals that are actually achievable. I know, you want to aim high, and that's great. But here's the thing, if your goals feel impossible, you're not going to be motivated to work toward them. It's like trying to run a marathon without training. It's just not going to happen. So instead of setting yourself up for failure, break down your big goals into smaller, more manageable chunks. This way, you can make steady progress without feeling overwhelmed. For example, if your goal is to run a marathon, start with a goal of running a 5K. Once you've achieved that, work your way up to a 10K, then a half marathon, and so on. Each small step you take will build momentum and help you stay focused on the bigger picture. But don't just stop at making your goals achievable, make them relevant too. What's the point of achieving a goal if it doesn't really matter to you? If you're setting a goal that doesn't align with your values or your bigger vision for your life, it's going to feel hollow when you reach it. For example, let's say you set a goal to earn a certain amount of money, but deep down, you know that financial success isn't your top priority. Maybe you're more passionate about helping others or pursuing creative work. If your goals don't reflect what's truly important to you, you'll struggle to stay committed, no matter how achievable they may be. Another key part of goal setting is making sure your goals are time-bound. This doesn't mean you need to hit your goal tomorrow, but having a target date gives you something to work toward. Without a timeline, it's easy to put things off and let your goals slip through the cracks. Think of it like a deadline for your dreams. It gives you a sense of urgency and helps you stay focused on the finish line. However, it's important to be flexible with your timeline. Life happens, and sometimes things don't go according to plan. That's okay. What matters is that you keep moving forward, even if it's at a slower pace than you initially expected. Now let's talk about one of the most important aspects of goal setting, celebrating the wins, no matter how small. When we're working toward a big goal, it's easy to get caught up in what we haven't achieved yet, instead of recognizing what we've already accomplished. But every step forward, no matter how tiny, is worth celebrating. This isn't just about patting yourself on the back. It's about reinforcing the idea that progress is happening, and it's worth acknowledging. Celebrate each milestone, whether it's crossing off a task on your to-do list or hitting a personal best. These small celebrations will help you stay motivated and remind you that you're moving closer to your ultimate goal. At the same time, don't get too caught up in the destination. Yes, goals are important, but they're not the end-all be-all of happiness. If you're constantly chasing the next big goal, you'll never stop to appreciate where you are right now. The process of working toward your goals is just as important as the goal itself. In fact, it's often the journey, not the destination, that shapes who we become and gives us a sense of fulfillment. So while it's important to set goals, it's just as important to enjoy the process, to learn from the challenges along the way, and to savor the small victories. And don't forget to be kind to yourself when things don't go as planned. We all hit roadblocks, face setbacks, and encounter obstacles along the way. But instead of beating yourself up or giving up altogether, use these moments as opportunities to learn and grow. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How can I adjust my approach moving forward? Remember, the path to achieving your goals isn't always linear. There will be bumps along the way, and that's okay. The key is to stay committed, keep going, and be willing to adjust when needed. Setting meaningful goals isn't just about achieving something on a to-do list. It's about creating a life that's aligned with who you are and what matters most to you. It's about building the future you want, one step at a time. And the best part is, when you set goals that are truly meaningful to you, they don't feel like a burden. They become the fuel that drives you forward, even on the toughest days. So get clear on what you want, break it down into actionable steps, and celebrate every bit of progress along the way. Your dreams are within reach, and you've got what it takes to make them a reality. Chapter 10. Creating a joyful environment. Imagine waking up in the morning to a space that feels calm, inviting, and inspiring. You step into your day already feeling a sense of peace and positivity. Sounds great, right? Well, the truth is, your environment has a powerful impact on how you feel, how you think, and even how you show up in the world. It's easy to underestimate this influence, but the space you surround yourself with can either elevate you or drain you. Whether it's the cluttered desk that makes you feel overwhelmed, or the bright, airy living room that fills you with energy, your environment plays a huge role in your overall well-being and happiness. Think about it. When you walk into a place that's clean, organized, and filled with things you love, how does it make you feel? More likely than not, it's uplifting. Your environment has a direct impact on your mood, your energy levels, and even your mindset. When your space is messy or chaotic, it can leave you feeling stressed, distracted, or stuck. But when it's tidy and thoughtfully arranged, it can create a sense of calm and control. It's not about perfection. It's about creating a space that supports the way you want to feel. One of the first steps in creating a joyful environment is clearing out the clutter. Clutter can be physical, like piles of papers or clothes, or it can be mental, like unfinished projects or unresolved feelings. Either way, clutter has a way of draining our energy. It's like trying to move forward with a heavy backpack. It makes everything harder than it needs to be. The good news is, you don't have to tackle everything at once. Start small. Pick one area to declutter, whether it's your desk, your closet, or even your digital files. As you clear away the excess, you'll likely feel a sense of relief. The space will feel lighter, and so will you. It's not just about getting rid of things that don't serve you, though. It's also about intentionally bringing in things that make you feel good. Surround yourself with things that bring you joy, whether that's artwork, plants, or personal mementos. Think about the things that make you smile when you see them, those little objects that hold meaning for you. Maybe it's a photo of a happy memory, a book that inspires you, or a candle that smells amazing. These small touches can create a sense of warmth and positivity in your space. But creating a joyful environment isn't just about aesthetics. It's also about the energy you bring into your space. The way you treat your environment, how you care for it, how you engage with it, can shape the way you feel in it. When you take the time to tidy up, organize, and curate your space with care, you're sending a message to yourself. You deserve to be in a place that makes you feel good. It's an act of self-respect and self-love. And don't forget about the impact of natural elements. Nature has a way of grounding us, calming our minds, and restoring our sense of balance. If you can, bring some nature indoors. A few plants, flowers, or even a bowl of fresh fruit can make a huge difference in how your space feels. If you can get outside, even better. A walk in the park, sitting under a tree, or simply taking a few deep breaths of fresh air can help clear your mind and lift your spirits. Nature has an inherent ability to create a sense of peace, and when we connect with it, even in small ways, we invite that peace into our lives. Another important aspect of creating a joyful environment is the people you share it with. The relationships we have with others can make or break the energy of a space. If your environment is filled with tension or negativity, it's going to be hard to feel at ease. On the other hand, when your space is filled with love, support, and positive energy, it becomes a sanctuary. The people you choose to spend time with, whether that's family, friends, or colleagues, contribute to the vibe of your environment. When you surround yourself with people who uplift and encourage you, your space naturally becomes more joyful. Creating a joyful environment isn't just about how your space looks or who's in it, it's also about how it feels. The energy you bring into a room, the thoughts you focus on, the intentions you set, all shape the atmosphere. If you walk into a room with a sense of gratitude, peace or excitement, that energy will fill the space. And the best part is, you don't have to wait for your environment to be perfect before you start making it joyful. You can start right now, no matter where you are. One of the easiest ways to shift the energy in your space is by incorporating music. Music has an incredible power to influence our emotions. The right song can make you feel happy, calm, energized, or inspired. Create playlists that reflect the mood you want to cultivate in your environment. Play uplifting music while you work, unwind with calming tunes at the end of the day, or sing your heart out when you need a boost. Music can instantly transform the vibe of a space and help you feel more connected to the present moment. Lighting is another key factor when it comes to creating a joyful environment. Bright, harsh lighting can be draining, while soft, warm lighting creates a sense of coziness and relaxation. Think about how the lighting in your space makes you feel. If it's too bright, consider switching to softer bulbs or add some candles to create a warm, inviting atmosphere. Natural light is always ideal, so if you can, open your windows and let the sunlight flood in. If that's not possible, try to bring in artificial light that mimics natural light, such as light bulbs that have a daylight setting. The right lighting can make your environment feel more open, welcoming, and energized. The way your space smells also plays a huge role in how it makes you feel. Scent has a direct connection to our emotions and can evoke memories, calm our nerves, or energize us. Whether it's the smell of fresh flowers, a favorite essential oil, or a warm cup of coffee, fragrance can enhance the overall atmosphere of your environment. If you want to create a joyful, uplifting space, consider using scents that promote relaxation and happiness, like lavender, citrus, or eucalyptus. Diffusers, candles, or even simmering a pot of herbs on the stove can fill your space with aromas that make you feel good. When it comes to creating a joyful environment, it's all about intention. It's about choosing to make your space a reflection of who you are and how you want to feel. It's about curating an environment that supports your well-being, your goals, and your happiness. By surrounding yourself with beauty, comfort, and positive energy, you create a space that nourishes your mind, body, and spirit. And the best part is, you don't need to wait for a major life change or a big move to start making this shift. You can begin right where you are, with what you have. Small changes, like cleaning out a cluttered drawer, lighting a candle, or putting up a picture that brings you joy, can have a big impact on the overall energy of your space. Your environment has the power to shape your experience of life. It can either lift you up or drag you down. So why not create a space that helps you feel more aligned with who you are, more connected to your dreams, and more at peace with where you are? When you invest in creating a joyful environment, you're not just improving your physical surroundings, you're enhancing your emotional and mental well-being too. And that's something worth working toward every single day. Chapter 11. Embracing play and creativity. I want you to think about the last time you had fun, really had fun, without any worries, deadlines, or expectations. Maybe you were laughing with friends, getting lost in a hobby, or doing something spontaneous just for the joy of it. That feeling, light, free, and unburdened, is the essence of play. It's not just for kids either. As adults, we often forget how to play. Life gets busy, responsibilities pile up, and we find ourselves trapped in the cycle of productivity, constantly focused on what we need to do next. But the truth is, play and creativity are essential to our well-being and happiness. They're not just nice-to-haves or things we do when we've earned it. They're vital to our mental, emotional, and even physical health. They're part of what makes us human, and it's time we started embracing them more fully. Think back to when you were a kid. What did you do for fun? Maybe you built forts, drew pictures, ran around outside without a care in the world, or made up your own games. There was no pressure to be perfect, no concern about how things turned out, just pure enjoyment. Somewhere along the way, many of us lost touch with that. As we grew older, we were told that play is for children, that we need to grow up and take life seriously. But the truth is, play is an essential part of being an adult too. In fact, play is one of the best ways to reconnect with ourselves and experience joy in our day-to-day lives. Let's be honest for a moment. When was the last time you did something just for the fun of it? Something that had no other purpose than to bring you joy. As adults, we often associate fun with productivity. If we're going to spend time on something, it better be worthwhile, right? We think that if we're not achieving something, we're wasting time. But here's the thing, joy doesn't have to be tied to accomplishment. Play doesn't need to be productive. In fact, some of the best moments of our lives are the ones where we let go of the need to be productive and simply enjoy the present moment. Play is about freedom. It's about breaking free from the structure and the shoulds that often govern our lives. It's about stepping into a space where anything is possible, where there are no limits or expectations. When was the last time you gave yourself permission to do something purely for fun, without worrying about the outcome? Maybe it's painting, dancing in your living room, or playing a game with your friends. Play is the antidote to stress, to burnout, to the constant pressure we put on ourselves. It allows us to let go, breathe, and just enjoy life for what it is in that moment. But what about creativity? Isn't creativity just for artists or musicians? Isn't it something that only a select few people possess? Not at all. Creativity is a human trait, one that we all have inside of us. It doesn't matter if you're an artist, a writer, or a scientist. Creativity is the ability to think outside the box, to solve problems in new ways, to innovate, and to express yourself. It's about seeing the world through a different lens and finding new ways to engage with it. And here's the exciting part. Creativity isn't something you either have or you don't. It's something that can be nurtured, developed, and expanded with practice. Creativity and play go hand in hand. When you allow yourself to be playful, you open the door to creativity. Play is the space where ideas flow freely, where you can experiment without fear of failure. It's when you let go of the rules and just follow what feels good. That's when the magic happens. Think about a child playing with blocks, building something that might not make sense to anyone else but them. There's no judgment, no second guessing, just pure creativity in action. We can all tap into that same creative energy, no matter our age or profession. In fact, some of the most successful and fulfilled people are the ones who prioritize play and creativity in their lives. They understand that taking time to play, to explore new ideas, to let their imaginations run wild, is not a waste of time. It's essential to their happiness, to their well-being, and to their success. Play helps us recharge, helps us tap into new ideas, and helps us build resilience. When you allow yourself to play, you give your brain the space it needs to think differently, to innovate, and to approach challenges with fresh eyes. And creativity, that's what allows you to come up with solutions, new projects, and unique ways of expressing yourself. It's easy to get caught up in the mindset that we don't have time for play, that we need to be serious and focused all the time. But this rigid mindset only leads to burnout. When you're constantly pushing yourself to be productive, to check off items on your to-do list, It can leave you feeling drained, uninspired and stuck. That's where play comes in. It recharges your battery. It reminds you that life doesn't have to be all about work, deadlines and responsibility. Play gives you permission to relax, to enjoy, and to explore without worrying about the end result. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but I don't have time to play. I have too many responsibilities. Trust me, I get it. Life is busy. But here's the thing, play doesn't have to take hours. You don't have to take a day off work or go on a vacation to experience the benefits of play. You can infuse play into your day, no matter how busy you are. It's about making time for small moments of fun. Maybe it's dancing in your kitchen while you make breakfast. Maybe it's going for a walk and noticing the little details in the world around you. Maybe it's trying out a new recipe or playing a game with your kids or friends. It doesn't have to be elaborate. The point is to prioritize moments of joy, to allow yourself the freedom to play, and to tap into your creativity in whatever way feels natural to you. Let me tell you something, when you embrace play, when you allow yourself to have fun, your whole life becomes more vibrant. You start to feel more connected to yourself, to your passions, and to the world around you. Play opens the door to joy, to laughter, and to the freedom to be yourself. It helps you tap into your inner child, that part of you that isn't afraid to explore, to make mistakes, and to simply enjoy the ride. And creativity. It becomes a natural extension of that play. When you embrace play, you naturally unlock new ideas, new ways of thinking, and a renewed sense of purpose. So here's my challenge to you today. Right now, find something playful. It doesn't matter what it is, just let yourself experience a moment of pure joy. Let go of the pressure to be perfect or productive. Give yourself permission to simply be in the moment and have fun. Whether it's something creative, spontaneous, or just plain silly, let yourself experience the joy of play. It's not just a nice way to pass the time, it's an essential part of who you are, and it's key to living a happy, fulfilling life. So go ahead, let your hair down and play. You deserve it. Chapter 12, Nutrition and Happiness. Let's talk about something that we often overlook when it comes to happiness, what we put into our bodies. We hear a lot about physical health, but there's something crucial that we don't talk about as much. The direct link between what we eat and how we feel. It's easy to think of food just as fuel, something we need to get through the day, but the truth is, our food choices play a huge role in how we experience the world, how we feel emotionally, and ultimately, how happy we are. Think about the times when you felt sluggish, moody, or just off. Chances are, there's a connection between what you ate and how you felt. Maybe you had a sugary snack in the afternoon that gave you a quick burst of energy, but left you feeling drained a couple of hours later. Or perhaps you skipped breakfast and found yourself feeling irritable and unfocused by midday. Food doesn't just fill us up, it affects our mood, our energy levels, and our ability to deal with life's challenges. Now, I'm not saying you need to follow some strict, complicated diet to feel happy. That's not the goal here. But what I want you to understand is that the food you eat directly impacts how you feel, physically, mentally, and emotionally. There's no one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to eating, but there are certain principles that can help guide us toward making choices that support not just our bodies, but also our minds and spirits. One of the most important things to recognize is that our brains are hungry too. They need nutrients, just like the rest of our bodies. And what you feed your brain directly impacts your mood, your ability to think clearly, and your emotional well-being. Ever notice how you feel sharper, more focused, and even more positive after eating a balanced meal. That's because your brain is getting what it needs to function properly. On the flip side, when you eat too many processed foods, foods high in sugar or fat, or when you don't eat enough, your brain doesn't get the nutrients it needs, and that can leave you feeling foggy, down, or even anxious. You've probably heard of the term comfort food. It's that dish you turn to when you need some emotional support. A big bowl of pasta, a piece of chocolate cake, or maybe some fried chicken. Comfort food is great in moderation, but if we're relying on food to fix our emotions all the time, we're not addressing the root cause of what's really going on. When we eat for comfort, we're often using food to fill a void that has nothing to do with hunger. And the problem with that is that while food might make us feel better in the short term, it doesn't solve the deeper issues we're dealing with. Plus, eating too much of the wrong stuff can make us feel even worse later on, as the initial boost wears off and we're left feeling sluggish, guilty, or regretful. What you'll find when you start paying attention to how food affects your emotions is that it's not about depriving yourself of the things you love. It's about balance. It's about learning to nourish your body and mind in a way that supports your long-term happiness, not just temporary pleasure. That means making mindful choices about what you eat, paying attention to how different foods make you feel, and gradually incorporating more of the foods that make you feel good, both physically and emotionally. The connection between nutrition and happiness goes beyond just our moods. There's also a direct link between food and how we handle stress. When we're stressed, our bodies crave comfort foods, and often we reach for something sugary or high in fat to soothe ourselves. But the thing is, those foods don't actually help us deal with stress in the long run. They give us a temporary comfort, but then they leave us feeling even worse when the sugar rush fades. Instead, when we nourish our bodies with whole, nutritious foods, we're better able to manage stress. Foods rich in vitamins, minerals, and healthy fats help our bodies handle stress more effectively. They also provide us with the energy we need to tackle challenges with a clear mind and a positive outlook. Let's also talk about energy. You know those days when you wake up feeling tired, even though you've had plenty of sleep. It's often because of what you ate the day before, or didn't eat. When we feed our bodies with a lot of sugar or highly processed foods, we get an initial spike of energy, but it doesn't last long. In fact, it can cause a crash, leaving us feeling even more tired and drained. On the other hand, when we eat a balanced meal with protein, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates, we give our bodies the fuel they need to maintain steady energy throughout the day. This steadiness in energy can have a big impact on how we feel emotionally too. When we're not constantly battling blood sugar highs and lows, we can stay more focused, calm, and content. I know it's not always easy to make healthy food choices. Life gets busy, and we often find ourselves reaching for what's quick and convenient. But the truth is, if we want to feel good and be happy, we have to prioritize our nutrition. It's not about following the latest diet trend or cutting out entire food groups. It's about choosing foods that nourish us, making mindful choices about what we eat, and remembering that food is a tool we can use to take care of our bodies and our minds. One of the most important nutrients for mental well-being is omega-3 fatty acids, which are found in foods like fish, nuts, and seeds. Omega-3s play a key role in brain function and have been shown to improve mood and reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety. Similarly, foods rich in antioxidants, like fruits and vegetables, help fight inflammation in the body and can boost mood. It's about choosing foods that are rich in nutrients that support brain health, because when our brains are healthy, we feel better. Another important factor in maintaining a balanced diet is eating regular, well-rounded meals. Skipping meals or going too long without eating can leave us feeling irritable, fatigued, and unfocused. Eating regular meals helps maintain stable blood sugar levels, which directly affects our mood and energy. And don't forget about hydration. Dehydration can have a huge impact on how we feel. Headaches, irritability, and low energy are just a few of the symptoms that can arise from not drinking enough water. Drinking water regularly throughout the day is one of the simplest yet most effective ways to support your mental and physical well-being. Ultimately, the goal is to develop a healthy relationship with food. That means eating to fuel your body, nourish your brain, and support your overall well-being. It doesn't mean obsessing over every bite or restricting yourself from the foods you love. It means finding balance and making choices that make you feel good inside and out. As you become more mindful of how food affects your emotions, you'll start to notice patterns. You'll begin to understand which foods give you energy and which ones drain you. You'll realize that the key to lasting happiness isn't found in a quick sugar rush, but in the way you nourish your body and mind on a daily basis. So next time you're reaching for a snack or planning your meals, take a moment to check in with yourself. How do you want to feel? What's your body asking for? And remember, you deserve to nourish yourself with the foods that make you feel good. Eating for happiness is a way of showing yourself love and respect. After all, your body is the only one you've got, so it's worth taking care of it. Chapter 13. Physical activity for mental wellness. Let's dive into something that's fundamental to our well-being, but sometimes gets brushed aside: the role physical activity plays in mental wellness. We often hear about the benefits of exercise for physical health, but what about the mind? It turns out that moving our bodies has a profound impact on our mental state, too. And this isn't just about working out to look good or lose weight. Though those things are certainly benefits in their own right, it's about the power of physical activity to help us feel better, more grounded, and more resilient in the face of life's challenges. Think about the last time you felt really stressed or overwhelmed. Maybe you had a lot on your plate at work, or there was something going on in your personal life that was weighing heavily on you. When we're dealing with tough situations, it can feel like the pressure just builds up, and it's hard to shake that heavy feeling. But have you ever noticed that when you get moving, whether it's taking a walk around the block, hitting the gym, or just doing some stretches, it seems like that pressure starts to lift? It's almost like a mental fog clears up, and suddenly things don't feel as impossible as they did just a few minutes ago. That's the power of movement on our minds. When you exercise, your body releases endorphins, those natural chemicals that act as mood boosters. Endorphins are often referred to as the body's feel-good hormones because they help reduce stress, alleviate anxiety, and even improve your mood. You might have heard the saying, exercise is a natural antidepressant, and it's not just a catchy phrase, it's backed by science. Physical activity helps stimulate the production of these endorphins, which is why after a workout, you often feel a sense of calm and well-being. It's like your body gives you a natural high, one that's free of side effects and available to anyone willing to put in the effort. But there's more to it than just endorphins. Exercise also helps reduce the levels of cortisol, a hormone that's released during times of stress. Cortisol is often referred to as the stress hormone, and when it's elevated for too long, it can negatively impact both your mental and physical health. Regular physical activity helps keep cortisol levels in check, so when life throws you a curveball, you're better equipped to handle it. It's like a natural stress buffer, helping you stay calm and focused, even when things around you are chaotic. Now I get it. Sometimes the thought of exercise can feel daunting. If you've had a long day or you're feeling low, the last thing you might want to do is lace up your sneakers and hit the gym. It's easy to come up with a million excuses. I'm too tired, I don't have time, or I'm just not in the mood. And I get it, those feelings are real. But here's the thing, Even when you don't feel like it, moving your body can help change your mood. It doesn't have to be a hardcore workout to reap the benefits. A short walk, some yoga stretches, or even dancing around your living room can help trigger those positive changes in your body. It's not about pushing yourself to the limit every time. It's about getting your body moving, even if it's just for a few minutes. You might be wondering, why is this so important for my happiness? Well, when we don't move enough, we tend to feel sluggish, mentally foggy, and more prone to negative thinking. Lack of movement can leave us feeling stuck, both in our bodies and our minds. On the other hand, regular movement creates momentum. It boosts our energy, improves our focus, and helps us approach challenges with a more positive mindset. It can even help us sleep better, which, as you know, has a direct impact on our emotional well-being. So, when you make physical activity a regular part of your life, it's not just about staying in shape, it's about improving your mental health too. It's also worth noting that physical activity doesn't have to be some grand, complicated routine. You don't need a gym membership or expensive equipment to experience the mental benefits of exercise. In fact, some of the most effective ways to move your body are the simplest ones: walking, stretching, yoga, or even doing household chores. The key is consistency. Just like how we build other healthy habits, making movement a regular part of your routine is what will give you the most benefit in the long run. And here's something else to consider. Exercise can be a powerful tool for overcoming feelings of anxiety or depression. When you're struggling with mental health, the last thing you want to do is move, but getting your body moving can create a shift. It doesn't solve everything overnight, but it does offer some relief from the weight of negative emotions. It gives you a moment of focus, a chance to get out of your head and into your body. It offers you space to breathe and reset. And if you can make movement a consistent part of your life, it can become a go-to strategy for managing stress and improving your overall mental wellness. When it comes to the mental benefits of exercise, we can't overlook the impact it has on our self-esteem. You see, when we take care of our bodies, we naturally start to feel better about ourselves. Each time we choose to move, we're telling ourselves, "I'm worth taking care of." Every workout, every walk, every stretch becomes a small act of self-respect. And the more we move, the more we realize just how strong and capable we really are. It's easy to get caught up in our mental chatter and believe that we're not good enough, not strong enough, or not capable enough. But physical activity has a way of showing us, in real time, that we are all of those things and more. It's a simple, tangible way to prove to yourself that you're worth the effort. And let's not forget the power of routine. When you make physical activity a non-negotiable part of your day, it becomes something you can rely on, especially when everything else feels uncertain. It's a way of grounding yourself, of taking control over something that's within your power. You can't control everything that happens in life, but you can control whether or not you move your body, and that small act of control can feel incredibly empowering. It gives you a sense of accomplishment, of consistency, that can have a positive ripple effect on every other area of your life. What's truly incredible is how movement can help clear the mind. Have you ever gone for a run or taken a brisk walk and felt like your brain was suddenly able to process things more clearly? Exercise has a way of giving us mental space. When we're physically active, our minds get a break from the constant buzzing of thoughts and worries. It's almost like we're giving our brains a chance to reset. And this mental clarity can help us make better decisions, handle stress more effectively, and just feel more balanced overall. But here's the catch: physical activity can't be a one-off thing. The real magic happens when it becomes a part of your lifestyle. That doesn't mean you have to be running marathons or doing intense workouts every day. It's about making movement a consistent habit. It's about finding ways to get your body moving that you enjoy, so it doesn't feel like a chore. And it's about understanding that every bit of movement counts, even if it's just a walk around the block or a quick stretch before bed. The more you make physical activity a part of your daily life, the more you'll feel the positive effects on your mental health and overall happiness. When you start to see physical activity as a tool for happiness and mental wellness, it changes everything. It's no longer something you do because you have to, or because it's part of some external standard. It becomes something you do because it makes you feel good. And when you approach exercise from that mindset, it stops being a task and starts becoming a gift to yourself. It's a way to take care of your body and mind, to honor yourself and your well-being. And when you feel good in your body, it's a lot easier to feel good in your mind. So the next time you're feeling low or overwhelmed, consider moving your body. Take a walk, do some stretching, or find a way to get active that feels good to you. It may not solve all your problems right away, but it will certainly make you feel better, and that's a step in the right direction. Chapter 14. The Mind-Body Connection. When we think about well-being, we often focus on the things we can see, like our physical health, our relationships, or the achievements we can tick off our to-do list. But one of the most powerful things that impacts our happiness and overall well-being is something we can't physically touch: the connection between our minds and bodies. This connection is fundamental to who we are, and understanding it can unlock a deeper sense of peace and resilience. Let's talk about this mind-body connection and how nurturing it can improve both your mental and physical health. The first thing to understand is that your mind and body are not separate. They are two parts of the same whole, constantly interacting and influencing one another. For example, when you're stressed or anxious, it doesn't just live in your head, it can show up in your body too. You might feel your heart race, your shoulders tense, or even experience digestive issues. On the flip side, when you take care of your body, whether it's through exercise, good nutrition, or restful sleep, you'll notice that your mind tends to feel clearer, more at ease, and more focused. This isn't just some abstract idea, it's backed by science. Our brains release chemicals that affect our mood, stress levels, and overall mental state, but those chemicals don't just stay in our minds, they impact the whole body. For instance, when you're feeling happy and relaxed, your body is more likely to be in a state of balance. On the other hand, when you're stressed, your body reacts by releasing hormones like cortisol, which over time can have negative effects on your health. Think about the last time you were really stressed out. Your body probably felt it before your mind could even catch up, right? Maybe your chest tightened, your breath became shallow, or you felt like you were carrying an invisible weight on your shoulders. This is the mind-body connection in action, when our thoughts and emotions affect our physical state. And the reverse is true as well. When you're physically healthy, when you're active, eating well and getting enough rest, it's easier for your mind to be clear, focused, and resilient. This understanding of the mind-body connection is key to unlocking a more balanced and healthy life. One of the most effective ways to nurture this connection is through practices like yoga and meditation. These practices focus on bringing awareness to the present moment, creating a deeper understanding of how your body and mind are interacting. Yoga, for example, involves moving your body in ways that not only improve your physical strength and flexibility, but also calm your mind. It's like a bridge between the body and the mind, helping you become more attuned to both. Meditation, too, plays a huge role in connecting the mind and body. It encourages mindfulness, being fully present with your thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations without judgment. When you meditate, you're not just quieting your mind, you're learning how to tune into your body's signals. This can help you understand how your emotions manifest physically, how stress shows up in your shoulders, or how anxiety affects your breathing. And by paying attention to these sensations, you can begin to release them, helping your body and mind find a sense of peace. But beyond these practices, it's also about making conscious choices every day that support both your mind and your body. One of the most important aspects of the mind-body connection is balance. Your body thrives when it's balanced, and so does your mind. It's about finding a routine that incorporates movement, rest, nourishment, and relaxation. These elements all play a part in keeping both your body and your mind in a state of harmony. Let's talk a little more about the role of rest in this connection. We often underestimate the power of sleep and downtime in maintaining our mental and physical health. When we don't get enough rest, we're more prone to irritability, stress, and even physical ailments like headaches or digestive issues. Our minds can't function at their best without sufficient sleep, and our bodies are much more susceptible to illness when we're running on empty. So if you want to support your mental wellness, getting enough sleep is non-negotiable. Rest is the time when both your mind and body have the chance to recharge, repair, and reset. Now, let's talk about stress, because it's one of the biggest things that disrupts the mind-body connection. We all experience stress, but how we handle it is what really matters. When we're stressed, our bodies go into fight or flight mode, releasing hormones that are meant to help us survive in the face of danger. But when that stress is prolonged, when we're constantly running on high alert, it can take a toll on both our physical and mental health. This is why it's so important to find ways to manage stress and bring the body and mind back into balance. Exercise is one of the best ways to manage stress because it helps release those tension-filled emotions. It allows the body to move through stress and release built-up energy. But beyond exercise, there are other ways to deal with stress too. Deep breathing exercises, progressive muscle relaxation, or simply taking a break to step outside and get some fresh air can help calm the nervous system. These practices remind the body that it's safe, that it doesn't need to stay in constant fight or flight mode. Over time, they help lower stress hormones and create a more relaxed, balanced state for both your mind and body. Another powerful way to support the mind-body connection is through nutrition. What we put into our bodies directly impacts how we feel mentally and physically. Think about how sluggish or irritable you feel after eating processed foods or sugary snacks. Your body is telling you that it's not getting the nutrients it needs to function at its best. On the flip side, when you nourish your body with whole, nutrient-dense foods, you'll feel more energized, focused, and at ease. Eating a balanced diet isn't just good for your physical health, it also supports your mental health. Foods like leafy greens, berries, and healthy fats nourish the brain, helping it function more efficiently and promoting a positive mood. Hydration plays a huge role in this too. Water is essential for every cell in our body, and when we're dehydrated, we often feel tired, sluggish, and mentally foggy. Staying hydrated is a simple yet powerful way to support both your body and mind. It's easy to forget to drink enough water, especially when we're busy or distracted, but the difference it makes in how we feel is incredible. A few extra sips throughout the day can make all the difference in how your body and mind work together. And let's not forget about movement. We talked about how exercise helps with mental health earlier, but it's also worth mentioning that movement, in any form, is a powerful tool for the mind-body connection. Whether it's going for a walk, doing yoga, dancing to your favorite music, or just stretching, moving your body helps release tension, improve circulation, and boost your mood. It doesn't have to be intense or exhausting. Even light movement can make a significant impact on your mental wellness. Finally, let's touch on the importance of emotional well-being in maintaining the mind-body connection. Our emotions are an integral part of who we are, and when we suppress or ignore them, they can show up in our bodies. Chronic stress, anger, or sadness can manifest as physical symptoms, tension in the shoulders, stomach issues, headaches, and more. By acknowledging and processing our emotions, we prevent them from becoming trapped in the body, and we allow ourselves to move through them in a healthy way. This is where practices like mindfulness and meditation come in, as they give us the tools to be present with our emotions without judgment. By creating space to feel and release emotions, we help both our minds and bodies stay balanced. When we take care of our body and mind in tandem, we create a foundation of resilience. This resilience is what helps us navigate life's challenges with greater ease. It's not about being perfect. It's about understanding that the mind and body are interconnected, and when one is out of balance, the other can be affected. By paying attention to both, we create a sense of wholeness that allows us to thrive. It's a lifelong practice, one that requires awareness, patience, and a willingness to nurture yourself, body and mind, so you can live a more peaceful, balanced life. Chapter 15. The Role of Nature in Happiness. When we talk about happiness and well-being, there's one element that many people overlook: the influence that nature has on our mood, our mindset, and our overall happiness. It's something so simple, yet so powerful, and it's often right in front of us. The natural world is not just beautiful to look at. It has an incredible ability to affect our mental health in ways we may not even fully understand. Yet we can all feel it. Think about the last time you took a walk in the park, stood on a beach, or simply sat under a tree. There's something about nature that calms us, clears our minds, and refreshes our spirits. And it's not just a feeling, it's science. You don't have to be a biologist to realize that we're deeply connected to the environment around us. In fact, there's something ingrained in our biology that responds to the sights, sounds, and rhythms of nature. We've spent thousands of years in natural environments, and despite the fact that we've built cities, developed technology, and found ways to shape the world to our liking, we're still fundamentally linked to the land, the trees, the oceans, and the animals. We're hardwired to feel at home in nature, and when we spend time in it, we reconnect with something deep inside of us that feels grounded, centered, and at peace. But let's explore why that is. Why does stepping outside, especially into natural spaces, have such a profound effect on how we feel? One of the most immediate and obvious benefits is that nature offers us a break from the constant noise and stimulation of modern life. We're always plugged in, always connected, and our brains are constantly processing information, both from our devices and the world around us. This constant state of alertness can be mentally exhausting. It leaves us feeling anxious, stressed, and overwhelmed, and it can even impact our ability to think clearly or make decisions. Spending time in nature provides the opposite. When you're surrounded by trees, the sound of birds, or the gentle rustling of leaves in the wind, your mind has the chance to reset. Nature creates space for us to breathe, relax, and simply be present. It offers us the opportunity to shift our focus away from the noise and chaos of daily life and re-engage with our surroundings in a much quieter, more peaceful way. When we step outside, our brains can shift from a state of high activity to one of calm and restoration. The environment allows us to reset and recharge. And it's not just about the quiet. Nature also has a remarkable ability to help us get out of our heads. When we're feeling stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed, our thoughts can feel like a whirlwind, spinning out of control. Nature offers us a different way of being. When you look at a tree, a flower, or the endless horizon, there's a sense of perspective that can shift your mindset. Nature is constant, but it's also ever-changing. The seasons shift, the sun rises and sets, and yet the world remains grounded. Being in nature reminds us that we don't have to have all the answers right now. We don't have to control everything. We can simply be, and in that space we can find clarity. There's another important aspect to how nature affects our happiness, the connection to something greater than ourselves. In a world where we're so often focused on our own problems, challenges and goals, nature has a way of pulling us out of that narrow focus and reminding us that we're part of something much bigger. This connection to the natural world has a spiritual component for many people. Whether or not you consider yourself a spiritual person, being in nature often fosters a sense of awe and wonder that makes you feel like you're part of the grand scheme of things. And that sense of connection, that awareness of the bigger picture, is incredibly powerful for our sense of well-being. For some, that connection to nature is also linked to a sense of purpose. Many of us find meaning in our lives when we're able to contribute to something greater than ourselves. And when we take care of the environment, or simply immerse ourselves in it, we're participating in something that matters, a living, breathing ecosystem that we are all connected to. Whether it's planting a garden, cleaning up a local park, or simply appreciating the beauty of nature, we're reminded that we have a role to play in the world around us. This can provide us with a sense of purpose, which in turn contributes to our happiness. Spending time in nature also has practical benefits for our mental health. Research has shown that being in natural environments can lower levels of stress, reduce anxiety, and even boost creativity. One study found that spending just 20 minutes outside can improve mood and energy levels, and people who engage with nature on a regular basis are often more resilient to stress. Nature doesn't just make us feel good in the moment, it has long-lasting effects on our mental health. It helps us develop a sense of calm and peace that stays with us long after we've left the natural setting. But it's not always about the grand landscapes. You don't have to go on a hiking trip to reap the benefits of nature. Simple, everyday experiences can have a huge impact on your mental well-being. It could be as simple as sitting in a park and watching the world go by, or walking barefoot on grass. Nature is all around us, even in urban spaces. It could be the tree-lined streets on your morning walk, or the sound of birds singing outside your window. If you live in a city, you might not always have access to vast forests or sprawling fields, but that doesn't mean you can't find ways to connect with nature. Even small patches of green space, community gardens, or even a pot of plants on your windowsill can provide that restorative energy. In fact, incorporating more nature into your life doesn't have to be difficult or time-consuming. Small changes can make a big difference. Take the time to step outside and take a deep breath, even if it's just for a few minutes. If you can, try to spend a little longer outdoors each day. If you're feeling stressed or stuck, take a break and find a spot where you can be around greenery, whether it's a park, a garden, or simply a quiet corner with a plant. And if you're someone who spends a lot of time indoors, try to bring nature inside. Decorate with plants, open your windows to let in fresh air, and allow the natural light to fill your space. All of these things can create a sense of calm and peace in your home, which contributes to a greater sense of well-being. And while being in nature is important, so is protecting it. As much as nature gives us, it's equally important for us to give back. Taking care of our planet is an act of self-care because it ensures that future generations will have access to the same healing, restorative power that nature offers us. You don't need to become an environmental activist to make a difference. Simple actions like reducing waste, conserving water, or planting trees can have a positive impact on the world around you. Caring for nature and protecting its resources also helps protect our own well-being. We're all connected in this beautiful, complex web, and the more we nurture the planet, the more we nurture ourselves. Ultimately, nature is a reminder that happiness doesn't always need to come from big, dramatic changes or grand achievements. Sometimes, happiness comes from the simplest things: a walk in the park, the feeling of grass beneath your feet, the sound of birds singing in the trees. Nature invites us to slow down, to breathe deeply, and to reconnect with ourselves in a way that brings a sense of peace, balance, and contentment. When you take time to engage with nature, you're not only giving your mind and body a break from the stresses of life, but you're also enriching your soul. It's a constant reminder that true happiness often lies in the small, everyday moments that we often overlook. So, go ahead, step outside, and let nature work its magic on you. Chapter 16. Practicing Mindfulness and Meditation. When we talk about happiness, one of the most powerful tools we have at our disposal, yet one that is often underestimated, is mindfulness. It sounds simple enough, right? Just being present in the moment. But there's a lot more depth to it than you might initially think, and understanding how mindfulness works and how you can practice it can really change the way you experience life and your own happiness. At its core, mindfulness is about being fully present and engaged with whatever is happening right now. It's about experiencing each moment without rushing ahead to the next one, without letting your mind wander to the past or the future. In today's world, where distractions are constantly pulling us in every direction, it can feel nearly impossible to be truly present. We're thinking about what happened yesterday, worrying about what's coming tomorrow, and trying to juggle a million tasks at once. But that's the thing, when we're not fully in the moment, we miss out on the richness of life as it's happening. We miss the joy, the beauty, and the peace that can be found in the present. Think about it. How often do you find yourself doing something, but your mind is somewhere else? Maybe you're having a conversation, but you're already thinking about your to-do list. Or you're eating, but you're distracted by your phone or the TV. We're all guilty of it at times, but when we let our attention wander, we lose the connection to what we're doing. We miss out on the experience. Mindfulness, in its simplest form, is about snapping back into the present moment and engaging with what's happening right now. It's about noticing the details, the way your body feels as you walk, the sound of your breath, the taste of your food, the warmth of the sun on your skin. It's about paying attention to life as it unfolds. But here's the thing, mindfulness isn't just about focusing on your surroundings. It's also about being aware of your inner world. It's about paying attention to your thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations without judgment. It's easy to get caught up in our heads, to let our thoughts dictate how we feel. But mindfulness allows us to step back from those thoughts and observe them instead of getting lost in them. When we become aware of our thoughts, we realize that we don't have to believe everything we think. We don't have to let our fears, doubts, and worries control us. Mindfulness gives us the space to simply notice what's happening inside, without letting it take over. Now you might be thinking, that sounds great in theory, but how do I actually do it? It's a fair question. And here's the good news. Mindfulness isn't something you have to be good at. It's not a skill you need to master in order to experience its benefits. In fact, the more you practice mindfulness, the more you'll realize that it's not about being perfect. It's about showing up and doing your best, no matter how messy or imperfect it might feel. And it doesn't require hours of meditation or sitting in silence for long stretches of time. It can be as simple as taking a few moments during your day to pause, breathe, and check in with yourself. One of the easiest ways to start practicing mindfulness is through mindful breathing. Breathing is something we do all the time, yet we rarely give it much thought. But when you slow down and really focus on your breath, It can be a powerful tool for grounding yourself in the present moment. Try this. Take a deep breath in, noticing how it feels as the air enters your body. Hold it for a moment, then slowly release it, paying attention to the sensation of the breath leaving your body. Do this for a few minutes, and just notice what happens. You might find that your mind starts to quiet, or that your body starts to relax. That's the power of mindfulness at work. Another way to practice mindfulness is through mindful eating. So often we rush through meals without paying much attention to what we're eating. We eat while watching TV, scrolling on our phones, or thinking about something else. But when we eat mindfully, we can actually improve our relationship with food and make eating a more enjoyable and fulfilling experience. The next time you sit down to eat, try this. Take a moment to really look at your food, notice its colors, textures and smells. Take a small bite and really focus on the taste and the sensation of the food in your mouth. Notice how it feels to chew and swallow. You might find that you're more satisfied with your meal and that you eat more slowly, which can also help with digestion and portion control. Of course, mindfulness isn't just about breathing or eating. It's something that can be woven into every aspect of your life. You can practice mindfulness when you're walking, talking to someone, or even doing the dishes. The key is to slow down and really be present with whatever task you're doing. Notice how your body feels, what your senses are picking up, and how you're reacting to the situation. When you bring mindfulness into your daily activities, you'll find that you feel more focused, more calm, and more connected to what's happening around you. But let's talk about how mindfulness actually leads to happiness. It's not just about being present, it's about how being present changes the way you experience your life. When we're fully engaged in the moment, we stop worrying about what we've done in the past or what might happen in the future. We stop replaying old mistakes or stressing about things we can't control. And when we let go of that constant mental chatter, we make space for joy, peace, and contentment. Mindfulness allows us to experience life as it is, without the filters of judgment, anxiety, or expectations. We can simply be in the moment, appreciating what's happening right now, without needing it to be anything more or less. Mindfulness also helps us manage stress and negative emotions. When we're aware of our feelings, we're able to respond to them in a healthier way. Instead of letting stress build up or getting swept away by negative emotions, mindfulness allows us to step back, acknowledge what we're feeling, and choose how we want to react. It helps us break free from the cycle of emotional reactivity and instead approach our emotions with compassion and understanding. When we're able to do that, we're not as easily overwhelmed by life's challenges. We're able to handle stress more effectively and navigate difficult situations with greater ease. But perhaps one of the most powerful benefits of mindfulness is that it helps us cultivate a greater sense of gratitude. When we're present, we notice the little things that often go unnoticed. We appreciate the warmth of the sun on our skin, the sound of a friend's laughter, or the simple joy of a cup of coffee in the morning. By practicing mindfulness, we become more attuned to the beauty and goodness that exists in our lives, and that sense of gratitude naturally increases our happiness. The more we focus on the present, the more we begin to see how much there is to be thankful for. At the end of the day, mindfulness is a way of life. It's not a quick fix or a magic solution to all of our problems, but it's a powerful tool that can help us cultivate a deeper sense of happiness and fulfillment. The more we practice mindfulness, the more we begin to experience life in its full richness, and the more we realize that happiness is not something we have to chase. It's something that exists within us, right here and right now. So take a deep breath, slow down, and start living mindfully. You might be surprised at just how much joy and peace you can find in the present moment. Chapter 17. Building resilience. Resilience is one of those qualities that people often admire in others, but don't always know how to cultivate in themselves. It's that quiet strength that allows someone to keep moving forward, even when life feels like it's throwing everything it has at them. It's not about pretending everything is fine when it isn't, and it's certainly not about never feeling pain or frustration. Resilience is about acknowledging the challenges and hardships and deciding to rise anyway. It's about finding a way to bend without breaking, to adapt without losing yourself. And here's the good news: resilience isn't something you're either born with or not. It's a skill, a mindset, and a way of being that anyone can develop. Life has a way of testing us. There are times when the road ahead feels impossibly long, and the weight of everything you're carrying feels too much to bear. In those moments, it's easy to feel stuck, overwhelmed, or even hopeless. But resilience is what helps you take that next step, no matter how small it might be. It's the thing that whispers, "You've got this," when the world feels like it's shouting, "You can't." It's not about leaping over every obstacle in your path. It's about navigating them with courage and determination, even if that means inching forward bit by bit. What I love about resilience is that it's deeply personal. It's not about comparing your journey to anyone else's or measuring your strength by someone else's standards. Resilience is about discovering what helps you keep going, what fuels your spirit, and what keeps your heart in the game. For some, it's leaning on a support system of friends or family. For others, it's drawing strength from faith, meditation, or journaling. The key is to find what works for you and to recognize that resilience doesn't look the same for everyone. One of the most important parts of building resilience is learning how to shift your perspective. When something difficult happens, it's natural to focus on the pain, the loss, or the frustration. Those feelings are valid, and it's important to give yourself the space to feel them. But resilience comes into play when you're able to look beyond those feelings and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow through this experience? It's not about ignoring the difficulty, it's about finding meaning in it. Some of the most resilient people I've ever met are those who have faced incredible challenges and come out stronger, not because they avoided the pain, but because they chose to let it teach them something. Another key to resilience is accepting that setbacks are a natural part of life. No matter how much we plan or prepare, things won't always go the way we want them to. The sooner we can accept that, the easier it becomes to bounce back when things go sideways. Think about it. How much energy do we waste resisting reality, wishing things were different, or blaming ourselves or others for what's happened? Resilience is about letting go of that resistance and focusing on what's within your control. It's about asking, what can I do now? What's my next step? Instead of getting stuck in why did this happen, or what if I had done things differently. One thing I've learned is that resilience is deeply tied to self-compassion. We can't expect ourselves to be strong all the time, and we certainly can't expect to get everything right on the first try. Resilience isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. It's about picking yourself up after a fall, dusting yourself off, and trying again, even if it takes 100 tries. And to do that, you need to be kind to yourself. Be your own biggest cheerleader, not your harshest critic. When things go wrong, remind yourself that it's okay to struggle, it's okay to feel hurt, and it's okay to need time to heal. The important thing is that you don't give up on yourself. Resilience also thrives on connection. It's easy to feel isolated when you're going through a tough time, but reaching out to others can make all the difference. Whether it's talking to a trusted friend, seeking guidance from a mentor, or joining a support group, connecting with others reminds us that we're not alone in our struggles. Sometimes, just knowing that someone else understands what you're going through can be incredibly healing. And often, when you hear someone else's story of resilience, It can inspire you to find that strength within yourself. One of the most powerful ways to build resilience is to focus on your why. What motivates you to keep going, even when things get tough? Maybe it's your family, your dreams, or a cause you're passionate about. When you're clear on your purpose, it becomes easier to push through the hard times because you know what you're fighting for. Take some time to reflect on what matters most to you and let that be your anchor when the storms come. I also want to talk about the role of gratitude in resilience. It might seem counterintuitive to focus on gratitude when you're struggling, but it can be a game changer. Gratitude doesn't erase the pain or make the challenges disappear, but it helps you see the good that still exists in your life. It reminds you that even in the darkest moments, there's always something to hold on to, a kind word from a friend, a beautiful sunset, or even the fact that you've made it this far. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's wrong to what's right, and that shift can give you the strength to keep going. Resilience isn't just about surviving tough times, it's about thriving because of them. It's about letting the challenges shape you into someone stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. It's about looking back on your journey and realizing that every setback, every obstacle, and every heartbreak has contributed to the person you've become. And while resilience doesn't make the pain go away, it does make it meaningful. It reminds us that we're capable of more than we ever thought possible, and that even in the face of adversity, we can find hope, strength, and joy. So if you're going through a tough time right now, I want you to remember this: you are stronger than you think. You've overcome challenges before, and you'll overcome this one too. It might not be easy, and it might not happen overnight, but you have what it takes to rise. Lean into your support system, take things one step at a time, and don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. Trust in your ability to adapt, grow, and persevere. Resilience isn't about never falling, it's about always getting back up. And every time you do, you're proving to yourself just how powerful and capable you really are. Chapter 18. The Joy of Giving. There's something magical about giving. It's not just about helping others or making someone else's day brighter, although that's a big part of it. Giving has a way of lifting your spirit and reminding you of what truly matters. It connects you to others in a way that nothing else can. It's the antidote to isolation, selfishness, and even stress. And the beauty of giving is that it doesn't have to involve grand gestures or big budgets. Sometimes, the smallest acts of kindness can ripple out in ways you'd never expect, changing lives, including your own. When we talk about happiness, people often think about what they can get: more success, more money, more recognition. But true happiness comes from the opposite: giving. There's a profound joy in knowing you've made someone else's life a little better, a little easier, or a little happier. Think back to a time when you did something kind for someone. Maybe you helped a friend move, gave someone a heartfelt compliment, or donated to a cause you care about. Do you remember how it made you feel? That warmth in your chest, that sense of fulfillment, that's the power of giving. What's incredible is how giving can change your perspective. When you focus on giving, you start to see the world differently. Instead of getting caught up in what you don't have or what's going wrong, you become aware of what you can offer. You start noticing opportunities to help, whether it's lending a hand, sharing your time, or simply listening to someone who needs it. This shift in focus can pull you out of your own worries and remind you that you're part of something bigger. And in that connection, you often find your own sense of purpose. One of the best things about giving is that it doesn't have to be complicated. It's not always about money or material things. Your time, energy, and attention are some of the most valuable gifts you can give. Think about how meaningful it is when someone truly listens to you, when they take the time to understand what you're going through, or when they show up for you in a moment of need. Those acts of giving are priceless, and they can make a world of difference for someone else. Giving also teaches you about abundance. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking you don't have enough time, enough resources, enough energy. But when you give, you realize just how much you actually have to offer. You realize that generosity doesn't diminish you, it expands you. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And as you give, you often find that life gives back to you in ways you never anticipated. Maybe it's through new opportunities, deeper relationships, or simply a greater sense of peace and contentment. I've seen how giving transforms people. I've seen someone light up because a stranger paid for their coffee. I've watched a community rally together to support a family in need. I've heard stories of people who, despite having very little, gave what they could and found joy they hadn't felt in years. These moments remind me that we're all connected and that kindness has the power to bridge gaps, heal wounds, and bring people together. It's not always easy to give, especially when you're struggling yourself. But sometimes, giving is what helps you get through those tough times. When you focus on helping others, it can take the edge off your own challenges. It reminds you that you're not alone, that everyone is carrying something, and that you have the power to make things just a little better, not only for them but for yourself. Giving is a two-way street. The act of helping someone else can help you just as much, if not more. If you're wondering where to start, it's simple. Look around you. Who in your life could use a little extra support or kindness? Maybe it's a friend who's feeling overwhelmed, a coworker who's underappreciated, or even a stranger who looks like they're having a rough day. It could be as easy as sending a thoughtful message, offering a helping hand, or even just smiling at someone who seems down. These small acts can create big ripples. Another way to give is by contributing to causes you care about. Is there an issue that speaks to your heart? Maybe it's supporting education, protecting the environment, or helping those who are less fortunate. Whether you volunteer your time, donate money, or spread awareness, your contribution matters. Even if it feels like a drop in the ocean, remember that every drop counts. Together, those drops can create a wave of change. Giving isn't about expecting anything in return, but it's amazing how often the rewards come anyway. When you give, you build connections, you strengthen relationships, you create memories, you make an impact. And in doing so, you often find that your own happiness grows. There's something deeply fulfilling about knowing you've made a difference, no matter how small. It's a reminder that your actions matter, that you matter. And here's the thing, giving doesn't just help others, it helps you grow. It challenges you to step outside of your comfort zone, to think beyond yourself, and to act with intention. It teaches you empathy, patience, and compassion. It shows you what's possible when you lead with your heart. And over time, it shapes you into someone who's not only happier, but also more connected, more grounded, and more alive. If you've ever doubted the power of giving, I encourage you to try it. Start small, if you need to, but start. Look for opportunities to spread kindness, to share your gifts, and to lift others up. Notice how it makes you feel. Notice the smiles, the gratitude, and the warmth it brings into your life. Notice how it changes the way you see the world and your place in it. Giving has a way of reminding us that we're not alone, that we're all in this together, and that we have the power to create a better, brighter world, one act of kindness at a time. So go ahead. Be generous with your time, your energy, and your love. Give without hesitation, without expectation, and without holding back. And watch as the simple act of giving transforms not just the lives of those around you, but your own life as well. Chapter 19. Celebrating Achievements and Joy. There's a deep sense of satisfaction that comes from taking a moment to celebrate your achievements. Think about it. When was the last time you truly paused to acknowledge something you accomplished? Not just a passing good job in your head, but an actual moment of recognition. Life moves so fast that we often jump from one task to the next, barely noticing the progress we're making along the way. But those celebrations, those small moments of appreciation, are where joy lives. They remind us of how far we've come and keep us motivated for what's ahead. Celebrating isn't about being boastful or overindulgent. It's about gratitude. It's saying, I see the effort I've put in, and I'm proud of it. It's allowing yourself to feel good about the strides you've made, no matter how big or small. Maybe it's finishing a project that's been hanging over your head, learning a new skill, or even just getting through a particularly tough week. Whatever it is, those wins deserve recognition. And let me tell you, the more you practice this, the more fuel you'll have to keep going. When you take time to celebrate, you're not just honoring the achievement itself, you're honoring the journey. Think about everything it took to get to this point, the discipline, the challenges you faced, the moments of doubt you pushed through. By celebrating, you're saying to yourself, that effort mattered. It's a way of acknowledging your own resilience and perseverance. And in doing so, you build confidence, which is the foundation for future success. But let's not just talk about individual achievements here. Celebrations aren't limited to personal victories. Shared celebrations, the ones you experience with family, friends, or colleagues, are equally powerful. They bring people closer. They create a sense of unity and connection. Whether it's a team completing a project, a family milestone, or a friend hitting a goal, those shared moments of joy remind us that life is better when we experience it together. Relationships thrive on positive reinforcement, and celebrations are a beautiful way to show someone, I see you and I'm happy for you. Now, here's the thing. Celebrating doesn't have to mean throwing a big party or making a grand gesture. It can be as simple as treating yourself to something you enjoy, writing a note of gratitude, or taking a quiet moment to reflect. The key is to make it intentional. It's about stopping long enough to let the accomplishment sink in. It's about savoring that moment before moving on to the next thing. I've heard people say, I'll celebrate when I reach the big goal, as if the smaller milestones along the way don't matter. But they do. The truth is, the big achievements are built on the foundation of those smaller wins. Waiting until the end to celebrate can leave you feeling burnt out, unmotivated, or even disconnected from your progress. Instead, treat each step forward as something worth acknowledging. It's like climbing a mountain. You don't just celebrate when you reach the top, you appreciate every viewpoint along the way. And let's talk about the ripple effect of celebrating achievements. When you take the time to honor your wins, you set an example for others to do the same. You show your kids, your friends, your colleagues, that it's okay to feel proud of what they've done. You create an environment where people feel valued and appreciated. That energy spreads. Imagine how much more motivated and inspired people would be if they felt their efforts were seen and celebrated regularly. Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever felt guilty about celebrating? Maybe you've thought, I haven't done enough to deserve this, or what will people think if I make a big deal out of this? Those thoughts come from a place of fear, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. But here's the truth. You are enough. Your effort, your progress, your growth, it's all worth celebrating. And anyone who makes you feel otherwise is probably struggling to give themselves permission to celebrate too. The act of celebrating is a form of self-compassion. It's a way of being kind to yourself, of recognizing your own humanity. Life isn't about being perfect. It's about growing, learning, and finding joy along the way. When you celebrate, you're embracing the imperfections and saying, "This moment matters." You're giving yourself the grace to enjoy the process, not just the outcome. Sometimes, life doesn't go as planned, and the goals we set for ourselves shift or change entirely. Even then, there's something to celebrate. Maybe it's the lessons you learned, or the resilience you discovered within yourself. Maybe it's the connections you made, or the unexpected opportunities that came your way. Life has a way of surprising us, and every twist and turn is worth acknowledging. Even when things feel messy or incomplete, there's always something to be grateful for. Let me share something personal. There was a time when I was so focused on what's next that I forgot to appreciate what I'd already achieved. I was chasing goals so hard that I didn't even realize how much ground I'd covered. It wasn't until someone close to me pointed it out that I stopped, looked back, and said, "Wow, I've actually done a lot." That moment of reflection changed everything. It reminded me that the journey is just as important as the destination. And from then on, I made it a point to celebrate, not just the big wins but the small ones too. So as you go through your day-to-day life, I want to challenge you to celebrate more. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Make it a habit. At the end of each day, think about one thing you're proud of, no matter how small. Maybe you stayed patient in a stressful situation, completed a task you've been putting off, or showed kindness to someone. Whatever it is, let yourself feel good about it. Let it remind you that you're moving forward, that you're growing, and that your efforts matter. Celebrating isn't just about looking back, it's also about setting the tone for what's ahead. When you take time to acknowledge your achievements, you create positive momentum. You build a mindset of abundance and possibility. You remind yourself that you're capable of achieving great things, and that mindset becomes the foundation for future success. So don't hold back. Celebrate your wins, celebrate the journey, celebrate the people who've supported you along the way. Life is full of challenges, but it's also full of moments worth cherishing. And every time you pause to celebrate, you're reminding yourself of just how beautiful this journey really is. Chapter 20. Your happiness journey. Life is a journey, isn't it? And when it comes to happiness, that journey is deeply personal. It's not about a destination you'll arrive at one day, with balloons and confetti waiting to celebrate your newfound joy. Happiness is something you create, cultivate, and nurture throughout your life. It's in the small, quiet moments, the everyday choices, and the habits you build. It's in how you decide to show up for yourself and the people around you. At this point, you've taken the time to dive into so many aspects of what it means to create happiness within yourself. You've explored how mindset, relationships, purpose, self-compassion, resilience, and even the environment you live in all play a role in shaping your experience of life. Now the question is, how do you bring it all together? How do you take these concepts and ideas and turn them into a way of living that feels authentic and joyful? That's what this chapter is all about. Your happiness journey moving forward. It starts with a simple yet powerful truth. Happiness is your responsibility. That's not to say life won't throw challenges your way or that external circumstances won't impact you. Of course they will. But your inner state, how you respond, how you grow, and how you choose to navigate those challenges is entirely within your hands. This might feel overwhelming at first, but it's also liberating. It means you're not waiting on anyone else to make you happy. You're not dependent on perfect conditions or external validation. The power lies within you. The first step in embracing this journey is to pause and reflect. Think about everything you've learned so far. What resonates most deeply with you? Is it the importance of letting go of what no longer serves you? Is it the idea of cultivating gratitude and mindfulness in your daily life? Or perhaps it's about setting meaningful goals and celebrating your progress. Whatever it is, take a moment to acknowledge what speaks to your heart. Happiness isn't a one-size-fits-all formula. It's about discovering what works for you, what feels aligned with your values and aspirations. As you reflect, you might notice that some areas of your life already bring you joy, while others could use a bit more intention. And that's okay. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Start small. Maybe it's committing to one daily habit that uplifts you, like writing down 3 things you're grateful for, or taking a few minutes to meditate. Maybe it's reaching out to a friend you've been meaning to connect with, or setting aside time for a hobby that lights you up. These small actions might seem insignificant on their own, but over time, they build momentum. They create a ripple effect that transforms how you experience your days. One of the most important things to remember is that happiness isn't about avoiding discomfort or pain. Life will have its ups and downs. There's no escaping that. But within those challenges lies an opportunity for growth and resilience. When things get tough, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to strengthen my character and deepen my understanding of myself? Every setback is a chance to rise stronger. Every failure, a chance to begin again with more wisdom. This mindset doesn't just make you happier, it makes you unstoppable. Another key part of your happiness journey is staying connected to your purpose. Purpose is what gives your life direction and meaning. It's the why behind what you do. When you're living in alignment with your purpose, even the hardest days feel more manageable because you know they're part of something bigger. So take the time to revisit your values and passions. What makes you feel alive? What contributions do you want to make to the world? What legacy do you want to leave behind? Let those answers guide your decisions and actions. And let's talk about relationships for a moment, because they're such a significant part of the journey. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, challenge you, and inspire you. Build connections that are rooted in authenticity and mutual respect. And don't be afraid to set boundaries with those who drain your energy or undermine your happiness. You have every right to protect your peace and prioritize your well-being. At the same time, be the kind of person who brings joy into others' lives. Show kindness, offer support and celebrate their wins as if they were your own. The more you give, the more you'll receive in return. As you move forward, remember to practice self-compassion. There will be days when you stumble, when old habits resurface, or when you feel like you're not making enough progress. Be gentle with yourself in those moments. Growth isn't linear, and change takes time. What matters is that you keep showing up. Celebrate your efforts, no matter how small, and remind yourself that you're doing the best you can. Self-compassion isn't just a nice idea, it's a necessity. It's what allows you to keep going when the road gets rough. Another thing to keep in mind is that happiness is often found in the present moment. It's easy to get caught up in the "I'll be happy when" trap. When you get the promotion, lose the weight, buy the house, or check off whatever goal is on your list. But true happiness isn't waiting for you in the future. It's here right now, in the little things. It's in the warmth of the sun on your face, the sound of laughter, the taste of your favorite meal, or the feeling of accomplishment after a productive day. The more you train yourself to notice and appreciate these moments, the richer your life will feel. As you continue on this journey, don't forget to dream big. Set goals that excite and challenge you. Visualize the life you want to create and take inspired action toward it. But also, give yourself permission to enjoy the process. Happiness isn't about racing to the finish line. It's about finding joy in every step of the way. Let yourself celebrate the milestones, savor the lessons, and embrace the journey in all its messiness and beauty. Finally, know that this is an ongoing process. There's no end to the happiness journey, because life is constantly evolving, and so are you. What brings you joy today might change tomorrow, and that's okay. Stay curious. Stay open. Keep learning, growing, and exploring what it means to live a fulfilling life. Happiness isn't something you achieve once and hold on to forever. It's something you create again and again, moment by moment, choice by choice. So here's to you, on your happiness journey. May it be filled with growth, connection, purpose, and all the little joys that make life worth living. You've got everything you need within you to create a life that feels true, meaningful, and beautifully your own. Now go out there and live it. You've got this.